Hey, what's up, guys? Josh here, your player two, and it's time for another pickups video. This is one of my favorite parts of the week. This is usually when I go out and I pick up a bunch of new games or old games where I get stuff from eBay, although nothing really from there this week. And I basically just show you guys my pickups and whatever it was that I actually ended up picking up for the week. So first off, the thing that I want to start with is actually not even a pickup. I actually picked this up last week, and that would be Chrono Trigger for the Nintendo DS, but this case and the manual for it were actually donated by Die Hard Gamer Bros, which is completely awesome because I had it loose and I didn't have the actual complete in-box version, so he was kind enough to sort of give me that, which, again, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Very cool of you. Hey, Retro, what's up, man? How are you today? Hope your Saturday's going amazing. Mine's going pretty rad. Got some new pickups here. So, and that's the thing, most of the games on here that I picked up today are not necessarily the greatest games ever or anything like that, but they're games that I personally had a lot of fun with, and I was really excited to sort of recollect and get back into my collection. And one of the first ones, I went for another PSP pickup, and that was Ridge Racer, which was, I believe, a launch title for the PSP, so I was pretty excited to actually find it, basically in really good shape, complete inbox with the UMD. It's not like a, greatest hits or anything. Then I've got the instruction manual, which I was pretty excited about. Going good, dude. Glad to hear it, Retro. Not Another Game Collector. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by, man. Great game. Just hacked my SNES and put Chrono Trigger on it. That's awesome, man. Congratulations. But although, you know what? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and kill this light over here because I think that it's creating just way too much glare for whenever I show the game. So I'm going to try to get around that. So give me 1 second. Okay. Now I think if I hold up a game, it will not look quite so blown out. Well, still a little bit. I think I just have to be careful of the light that's over there. But yeah, so Ridge Racer, $5.99, not too bad. I've been looking for Ridge Racer. Awesome find. I'll keep an eye out for you, sir. I don't know if this was the only one. I don't think it was the only one, but if I catch another one, man, just, I don't know where to ship things to you, but just let me know and I'll see if I can get it over to you. Next up, and this thing, there's a lot of these actually on the pickups video this week, and that's PlayStation 2 games, but this one was a game that I had a ton of fun playing. I thought it was spooky. I enjoyed the action in it, and they actually ended up making 3 of them, but that would have been Onimusha, which I have no idea how this got out of my collection, and the cool thing was it wasn't super expensive to pick up. I mean, this is like $7.99. Case is in great shape. Disc is in great shape. Got the instruction manual and everything here. And I'm just really pumped to have this again because it's one of those games, and Sean gives me a hard time, but I'm a seasonal gamer, man. I like to play spooky stuff in October. And in fact, if I recall correctly, I did play Onimusha for the first time in October when I was in high school. Really, really enjoyed playing through that with a couple of my friends. And, I'm really glad to have it back. There's probably an HD collection of this, even if I wanted that PS2 version. Next up, and that's the thing, this came out on multiple systems. I personally had it for the GameCube, but I had an absolute blast playing Need for Speed Wanted on the GameCube. I just really, really enjoyed this game quite a lot. And that's the thing, there have been a lot of Need for Speeds that have been sort of hit or miss, right? They're not always the best games in the world or anything like that. But I really did dig the one for GameCube, and I spent a lot of time actually in college playing this because it was right after I graduated high school, which would have been around 2001, or I'm sorry, 2002. And then I moved up here to Columbus, and I brought my GameCube with me, and I spent a ton of time playing this and really, really enjoyed it. So Need for Speed Most Wanted also on the list. And next up, this should have been for the GameCube. Unfortunately, it's not for the GameCube, or rather it is, but that's not the version I ran across today, but I was worried I wouldn't be able to find the GameCube one, and it was so cheap. I think this was only like $5, but I was really excited to have it again, and I think this was just one of the best superhero games ever, and that was Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. It was just a ton of fun, and the fact that you could split a car in half and then use those 2 halves as boxing gloves. It was just a really, really fun, action-packed game. And plus, I recently picked up the Incredible Hulk for the Sega Genesis too, so I thought they worked rather nicely together. So I was pretty excited to find Ultimate Destruction, again, with the instruction manual, because I do try to collect complete in box wherever I'm able. But yeah, $4.99, and I think the disc was in pretty good shape. Now, I don't remember checking. It's okay. It's not the best, but definitely, or it should definitely be playable. And weird, I did not realize this was published by Sierra. That's interesting. Or was it developed by Sierra, actually? I'm not sure, but I really dug Ultimate Destruction a lot. Even though I did play it on GameCube, I went ahead and decided to go for that PS2 version. Speaking of the PlayStation 2, the next thing that I grabbed, and now here's the thing about this. This series is revered by a lot of people, and I've only played 1 or 2 titles in this series maybe, but this was one of them, and there's actually a fun story behind it, or at least mildly entertaining, maybe not fun. And that was Contra Shattered Soldier. So the thing about Contra Shattered Soldier was this. I had some buddies who were we were thinking about picking up a new game. It was like a Friday night. Hey, what's up, Sea Otter? Good to see you, sir. And also really liking all the motivational pick-me-up videos that you're doing over on your channel. I've been checking those out on a regular whenever I'm able to. Roaming Dan, what's up, dude? How are you? So Contra Shattered Soldier, the thing about this is, and again, it's complete, and the disc is just flawless, but that's where it gets interesting, right? This is one of the blue bottom discs, which if you're not familiar, the blue discs, I believe, were CD-ROM and not DVD-ROMs on the PlayStation 2. And the thing that was fun about this was those same friends who I played Onimusha with that one night, we picked this up. I actually grabbed it over at a GameStop at the mall. And the thing is, you know, we took it home and popped it in, and we couldn't read the disc. And we thought, okay, there must be some problem with the disc, right? We can just go exchange it. Like, you know, you still really couldn't return games at that point if you'd already opened them, but you could usually exchange it for the same title if you could demonstrate something was wrong with it. So we went back and we exchanged it for another copy of Contra Shattered Soldier, and that one didn't work either. And that would begin the process of uncovering that, yes, the original PlayStation 2s had laser read problems, specifically, or in a lot of cases, I guess, for the blue bottom discs. And that was the first of 4 different PlayStation 2s that I would go through over the next probably 2 or 3 years, where I would have basically laser, disc read problems and have to basically like send them off to Sony to get them serviced and then get them back, or just get really frustrated and trade them in and get a different one entirely. So Contra Shattered Soldier, and that's the thing, if you haven't played this, it is actually a lot of fun. And, I mean, sort of true to the Contra series, I guess it's fairly difficult, but again, it's probably been over a decade since I've played it. But to find it in such good shape and have a blue bottom disc that is basically flawless, and the fact that a few weeks ago, if you saw, I picked up like a slim PS2 so I could start diving back into some of these titles eventually. I just couldn't not do it. It was $14.99. I don't know if that's, pretty steep for a complete inbox Contra Shattered Soldier. I'm not really sure, but I suppose I could, kind of look it up and see. My friends had the same problem with the blue disc. Yeah, lots of people had that problem. It was weird. I did not realize lots of people had that problem until, later on, whenever I realized a lot of people had to send back those original PS2s or, basically trade them in or sell them off or whatever because they had issues reading those discs. Retro says, I have a Galactic Wrestling that won't work. I've never even heard of Galactic Wrestling, sir, but, I'm sorry to hear that it's not going for you. Henry Gonzalez, sir, I'm glad to see you back in action. I hope the new channel is going to go well for you, or if you're going back to the original one. I did not get a chance to watch your video to see, but glad you're here, man. Glad you're still hanging out. Next up is, and this is the thing, Nostalgia has this in its collection. I'd heard a few people talk about this. Now we're taking a step back, generationally speaking. We're going back to, I believe, the 3rd generation of consoles with the Nintendo Entertainment System. And today I picked up a very good-looking copy of Bayou Billy, which actually, you know what, that's really reflective plastic. I'm going to go ahead and get this thing out of here. It was like $7.99, which I didn't think was too terrible. But the thing is, like, the label and everything was in really, really quite good shape. So I'm going to get this out of here. But yeah, Bayou Billy, I know nothing about this game except that it's supposed to be quirky, moderately fun, I guess. And I was talking to Brian, one of the employees at Warp Zone, and actually an old friend of mine. And I was like, yeah, man, like I said, it was really good. And he was like, I don't know if it's really good. He was like, but it's worth having. He was like, it's worth playing. I guess he doesn't feel it is an extremely good title, but nonetheless, for like $7, and the fact that Nostalgia also has it and seems to vouch for it, that's enough for me, to sort of warrant a pickup there. Yeah, the OG channel is sticking with me for now. Glad to hear it, Henry. Retro says you can use the gun with it. Wait, with what? Wait, what are we talking about? With Contra? Or are you talking about Galactic Wrestling? Or am I completely confused right now? Because I would be curious to see what you mean. Bayou Billy is the first game that my mom bought me after the Mario Duck Hunt that came with the system back in the day. Right on. So you have experience with this game, and I'm assuming some childhood fondness of it, Roaming Dan. So what can I expect from this game? If you want to break it down for me, I'd love to hear about it. And then finally, well, actually, there's a couple of accessory pickups that I did do. One is, and this is the thing, right? Like, I basically, I don't know if you guys saw where I put this on Twitter, but Bayou Billy, you can use a gun with it. What, like the NES, like the NES Zapper? That's insane. I haven't been gaming for a couple of days. Dude, I hear you. I've been busy as well. Sean says, I used to make so much money realigning the disc readers on PS2 machines. I would buy broken ones, spend 5 minutes fixing them, and make a pile of cash, resell them for $50 less than retail. Sean, had only, Josh from 2000 known you, I probably would have been one of your best customers, man, because I went through like 4 of them. But thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. I don't think I've seen you here before. Right. Yeah, I have no idea. That's completely crazy that you can. He said it was a weird game. So before I get to this final game I picked up that I'm going to sort of explain, I did get an Insignia. It's a pre-owned, but if you can see the price tag there, it was only $15.99 to get this at GameStop. But this is an Insignia Xbox One controller charger that came with 2 batteries for $15. And I was like, yeah, I could totally use that because I tend to flip between AA's or constantly just like plug them directly in through USB. And as I recall, these batteries actually perform pretty well. I've bought these before in Insignia, even though it's a Best Buy brand. I never really had any major problems with them, never noticed any significant reduction in battery life using them. So to get, something that could charge 2 controllers in a stand type configuration with 2 rechargeable batteries for $15, that was a no-brainer for me. Is that a monster sack behind you? Murr, first off, thanks for being here. My pickups are not nearly as monumental as yours, where I will point out. But yes, that is the super sack from the Love Sack people, made of owl fur, which isn't a real thing, but I guess just a marketing buzzword. Hey all, what we got for swag? Judge, sir, I'm glad to see you here. I will run back through them in a second. But the other thing that I bought was they actually had, and I don't know how well this is going to work, but this is like a PlayStation 4 DualShock controller charger that actually snaps onto the PlayStation and just hooks into the back USB ports. Normally, I don't need quick charging for DualShock 4s, but I thought this was just a really streamlined solution to charging that wouldn't require an extra cable or chewing up an AC outlet. So I figured I'd give it a shot for like $11. Why not? Another game called nice reachable batteries rechargeable batteries are the way to go for that price. Yeah, that's what I thought. Like $15 for 2 rechargeable batteries and the stand to charge them. I thought that was a good idea as well. Let's see. Hello. And this is the final game that I got. And some of you will probably have mixed feelings about it. I have mixed feelings about it. But that would be, I found it pre-owned, which you don't, I feel like this is going to be difficult to find, period. But the fact that I found one pre-owned, I just couldn't not get it. And that was Secret of Mana, the physical edition for the PS4. Now, maybe this is true, maybe it's not, but I have heard rumblings that this is just a limited physical release. So this may be sort of a unicorn in 5 or 10 years, who knows? But that's the thing. I don't really necessarily collect games just because I'm like, oh, that's going to be a collector's item, because you could do that endlessly pretty much. But the fact that I have the original one now on the SNES Classic, and I've heard people sort of, have some questionable feelings about this game in terms of how it compares to the original, I thought it might be fun sometime to go into the experience completely new and sort of do like a compare and contrast stream, like maybe play the original on the SNES Classic and then fire this up on the PS4 and see how it goes. And if I don't completely hate this on the PS4, it is cross-save compatible, as I understand it. So since I did pick up a Vita last week or the week before, if I wanted, I suppose I could buy the digital copy of this and take that adventure on the go, because as I understand, it's a fairly lengthy adventure. So that's why I got it. I mean, it was, instead of paying $40, it was only $30, which is a pretty good price, I think. So yeah, went for Secret of Mana. I don't know if you got the message, sending you swag for the 13th. Also, I won't say swag anymore, I promise. Dude, that's awesome. I'm excited to see what you send me, man. Like, it's very cool. I appreciate it. Roaming Dan, Bayou Billy, think a bad Double Dragon game that you can also use the Zapper with. That sounds amazing in its own right. You're right about Secret of Mana limited print. Oh, okay, awesome. So that wasn't just rumor mongering then. It actually is going to be a limited physical release. So I'm glad I picked it up for $30 then. I wouldn't mind owning that. Wait, are you referring to Secret of Mana, Mur? Because if so, man, I'll just keep an eye out for you if I find another pre-owned one that's pretty cheap. For pre-owned price, you're forgiven. $40 is too expensive. Oh, okay, gotcha. Well, I mean, at least I didn't overpay then, so I'm cool with that. Dr. Mario has been a game I've dug really into ever since I got it. Dude, Dr. Mario is super fun, and I used to play that a ton with my mom back in the day, Henry, and I actually wanted to find, I think there's a Super NES card. I don't know if there's an NES card that actually has Tetris and Dr. Mario. I can't remember which system that was for, but if I find that, I'm definitely going to get it. Even though I have both of those games individually, the fact that you could have both of them on one cart, very cool. GameStops near me still have Secret of Mana on the shelves. Yeah, I mean, they had it new, but I didn't want to pay $40 for it. If I can get it for 30, I can deal with 30. Because I mean, if I get a cool video out of it, and that's the scary thing, the Josh-ification part is, if something that can be used for the channel, I'm instantly like, oh yeah, I should totally buy that thing. Just probably horrible, compulsive behavior that I should probably work on. Dr. Mario is the best, Henry. Yes, a super fun puzzler. Yes, but I skipped it for now due to backlog. Yeah, dude. I mean, my backlog is not inconsiderable. I'm sorry to say, Mur, but I'm trying to figure out ways I can sort of at least abate some of that guilt, I suppose, about my backlog, possibly by combining multiple titles onto a single stream. Not sure if that's going to work fantastically, but I figured I'd give it a shot sometime. In particular, one of the ways I'm going to get through some of that, at least, later tonight, I'm either going to be streaming either Minecraft with Kyle and possibly Jason for a little bit, and you guys can check out the 200 hours I put in Minecraft. I'm not like a hardcore Minecraft player, if there is such a thing. I just kind of like building things, exploring things, and, you know, just, again, it's a very therapeutic experience for me, as I said on Twitter the other day. Back to what I was saying a second ago, I still have the Super Nit analog over there, which I have not even plugged in yet, which just breaks my heart to no end. And I've got, you know, basically a stack of the Super NES games, ones that I already had, and then also Sean made an outrageously generous donation, including games like Killer Instinct, Super Mario Kart, Donkey Kong Country 2. I mean, dude totally hooked me up. It was fantastic, and I would love to actually play those carts on hardware that, you know, is essentially the original FPGA, or in fact an improvement upon it, I guess, in some cases, and really see how that system performs with the 8BitDo wireless controllers and everything. So we'll see what I actually get to tonight. If I don't get to do the Super NIT tonight, I'll probably end up doing it tomorrow at some point after I've had a chance to relax and unwind a bit. For sure, Judge. I watched the new Pacific Rim today. It was totally worth the watch. Yes, Pacific Rim Uprising is absolutely worth a watch. It's not as good as the original in my estimation, but if you're somebody who likes giant kaiju monsters fighting, I feel like you would come away from that at least entertained. I know I was, and John Boyega did an amazing job on it. Finished Witcher 3 finally. That would be a game on my backlog, sir, that I lament that I have not dug into more fully. Now, I did start listening to the first audiobook in that series, I believe. And I'm excited to hear they're making a Netflix series out of The Witcher. So part of me is just sort of like, nah, I don't have to play the games. I'll just watch the show when it comes out. But it feels kind of crap because I know that game was incredibly well received. And in the limited time I did spend with it on PC, it was a lot of fun. But since I bought an early version of it, it also crashed on my system like 5 or 6 times in a row. And I was like, I'll play this later. I just kind of didn't do it. So, you finished it, Mur. Have you done all the DLC as well? My daughter, LOL. No, I'm starting the DLC tonight. Oh, right on. I assume you'll be streaming this at some point, Mur. Is that fair to say? So yeah, for everybody who came in late, I'll go ahead and run back through these. First off, this was not, again, I bought this game last week. I didn't have the box and the case for it, and that was Chrono Trigger DS. But the case and the manual were actually delightful donations from Die Hard Gamer Bros. He sent this over to me, and it was here like 2-3 days later, like instantly. Very cool of him because he knows that I'm trying to keep things complete in box. Also picked up Ridge Racer for PSP, which is one of my favorite titles right out of the gate because I think it launched with the PSP. Onimusha, which I had a blast with, and I would love to explore again probably this October if there's not an HD re-release of this. I don't think there is, but if there were, I'd probably play that one, but I just want this one for collection's sake. Need for Speed Most Wanted, which I spent a ton of time playing in college after I brought my GameCube up from where I'm in my hometown, up here to Columbus where I went to college, and just spent so much time playing this and had a blast doing it. The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. I did not originally have this for PlayStation 2. I had it on GameCube, but I found this for like $5 and I couldn't pass it up because it's in a really, really good shape, complete with the manual. Contra Shattered Soldier, which again, as I was talking about earlier, I bought this originally in high school. The blue bottom disc would not be read on my PlayStation 2, and that became the first in a string of about 4 PlayStation 2s that I would ultimately go through and have to scrap because they didn't work. And then Bayou Billy, which Nostalgia has, and again, some of you in the chat have already told me that's sort of quirky in that it's like Double Dragon, but then also you can use the zapper with it, which seems completely bonkers to me, even though I couldn't do the zapper. I don't have a CRT in the house right now. And then finally, yeah, Secret of Mana, which people have mixed feelings on. I personally want to explore it and check it out, and for $30 instead of 40, I'll absolutely take that leap. I'm almost done with the original quest on my stream of Witcher 3 as well. Then I'll attack the DLC. Oh, right on, Remington. Maybe I could just cheat and watch you then to sort of get my fix, or watch your archive streams leading up to the release of the Netflix show so I don't have to do the work myself. Sort of the way I made Sean play all the games the other night while I just kind of talked to you guys. Need for Speed Most Wanted is awesome. Yes, it was super awesome. I'm not sure how good those graphics look today, but I'm willing to check it out. Incredible Hulk game was a childhood memory of mine. It was so good. Square One Games, I finally caught one of your streams. What's up, man? Sir, I am doing well. For those of you who aren't familiar, if you like somebody who does a deep dive into a variety of video games in an incredibly, incredibly polished way, go check out Square One Games. I don't always play the games that he's showcasing, so sometimes I miss a lot of his content, but sir, your quality is second to none. That's one of the best channels on YouTube, and I can't recommend it enough. I have to go make them tips now. Take care, all, and have a good weekend. Judge, you have an excellent weekend as well, sir. And I'm sorry I missed your last message, but thank you so much for being willing to send something to my PO box, man. I'll be looking for it, and I'm very excited to see what you're shooting my way. I'm glad you're doing well. Good pickups. Thanks for the kind words. No problem at all, sir. I mean, you've been a supporter of this channel for a very long time, back when it was still Geeks Podcast. And now that I've sort of figured out how to refine my focus and stick to a consistent schedule and everything, the fact that you're still here means a ton to me. And it was so weird. I met up with Muzz earlier from Level 1 Games, which you guys aren't familiar. Muzz is a good friend of mine. He's been on a couple of videos here, and I've been on his channel a bit. But I actually met up with him earlier. We had coffee, and we're talking about what he's going to be doing with his channel moving forward. We've got some fun stuff lined up with him as well from a collaborative standpoint. But Square One, you also came up during that conversation, and Muzz was talking about you. So, you've been on our minds. By the way, sub to you, Judge. Yes, you should sub to Judge as well. He's like his stream's in the early, well, his channel, I guess, is sort of early right now, but the dude has amazing delivery. Like, I actually talked to him on the phone the other day. We were, working through some stream stuff, and I actually learned a bunch from him. Like, the dude is just an incredibly down-to-earth, real sweetheart guy. And, I'm really excited to see what content he comes up with. He also offered to tutor me in Monster Hunter World, which I picked up last weekend, because total noob at that. I've barely managed to make my character and start, actually hunting down some monsters. So he was kind enough to be like, look, I know you're completely inept at this game. If you need help, it's fine. Just come talk to me. It's very nice of him. Henry says, what arcade game is that behind you, if I may ask? That is actually not an arcade game. Technically, it's a collection of games. That's just a main machine. It's an old Dell Inspiron that is just like, or no, not an Inspiron, Dimension? I can't remember. It's one of the older Dell desktops. It's like a $50 computer maybe that's like 10 years old that's sitting inside that cabinet, and then it runs MAME software so that I can play things like Pac-Man or what other games do I have on there? I'm trying to think now because I don't fire it up much except for when company comes over. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles arcade game, X-Men, games like that, stuff that people tend to just kind of like jump in and play a little bit on. Yeah, I mean, it's a very cool unit, and the cabinet itself is from Rec Room Masters, and it's a rock. It's heavy. I lament the day that I have to move that, but thankfully it sort of breaks into two pieces. Like that top half will actually kind of come up off of it, and you can move the base separately, which is nice. But yeah, I mean, that thing collectively is probably a solid 150, 200 pounds. It's beastly. For an arcade machine that is as easy to put together as a piece of IKEA furniture, I sort of expected the build quality to be sort of less than stellar, but no. It's heavy and it is solid. So, well, since we're all here, I mean, and I've kind of gone through the entire collection here of stuff that I picked up today. So at this point, this is really where I just chill out and talk as long as you guys feel like talking. So what are all of you playing right now? Tell me about how your days have gone. What are you doing with your Saturday? Anything exciting planned for tonight on your channels? Let's talk about that. And I'm going to sit here and basically admire the Secret of Mana, although I feel a slight tinge of guilt that I did not grow up playing it, so it almost feels like I'm undeserving of the game, as it were. So I am going to start slowly peeling the stickers off these. And that's one of the things I do like about Warp Zone, and I think also at Muzz's shop over at L1 as well, is they don't put the stickers all over the outside of it. They usually just sort of like will tape one to it if they have to. But you don't get that residue stuck behind it, or it's sometimes like whenever you try to peel the label off and it leaves paper all over it. I can't stand that. So, it's pretty nice. Thankfully, I think GameStop's gotten better about it, though. These stickers feel a lot easier to remove than they used to be. Been playing way too much TMNT 3. Is that Manhattan Project that you're referring to? Because I never got to play that. And I also need to try and get a copy of Hyperstone Heist at some point for the Genesis, because I think Sean said he wanted to play that. And I never played that, because, again, grew up a Nintendo kid and never had Genesis, so... Playing Far Cry. Wait. I'm playing 99 Vidas. So not another game collector. I downloaded that last night while I was playing Minecraft, because I would not have realized that the new free offerings for PSN had dropped had you not told me. So I was basically sitting there playing Minecraft, and then I have my Vita over here where I downloaded 99 Vidas. And actually, I've been playing Persona 4 on it, which has been a lot of fun. Square One says, playing Far Cry 5, writing a trophy guide for it at the moment. That's awesome. How are you enjoying Far Cry 5? Like, where does it rate on a 1 to 10 if I can overly simplify a review score from you? Romy Dan says, going through the process of selling my house. Dude, that sounds heavy. I hope it goes well, sir. Is that because you're planning to move? Murr says I picked up NASCAR 14 for $4.99 at a smelly thrift store earlier. It's like $15 on the bay. Oh, I mean, that sounds like a pretty good find then, sir. I assume NASCAR 14 was a solid entry in that series. I'm not much of a NASCAR guy, despite the fact that I'm from Southern Ohio, where, you know, appreciation for NASCAR is more than prevalent, as you can imagine. And trying to keep a consistent schedule for streaming Monday to Friday. Yeah, I'm keeping a consistent schedule. It's solid. It's something that I still struggle with from time to time. But again, the way I do it, not just for streaming, but just for content on this channel, period, is I batch process things and schedule things out. Like right now, I've got basically everything planned out through the beginning of May, and I've got about 6 videos I need to wrap edits on and get uploaded. But you know, I mean, that's like a 9-step process, right? You have to come up with the idea, then you have to script or outline it, and then you have to shoot it, edit it, do any supplementary B-roll or reshoots, and then you have to publish it, and then you have to optimize it for YouTube, and then you have to market it, and then all of that you still have to stay completely sane somehow, right? Which is not always easy. That's why I like to batch things together, so I kind of reduce that ramp up time on each one of those activities. TMNT3 Manhattan Project. Yeah, see, I remember the box art for that and thinking it looked really awesome. Like, I really liked the label for Manhattan Project, but never played the game. Although there's part of me that thinks I may have had it on PC at one point. I can't say for certain. I probably have to ask my parents to see if they remember, but I know that box art so well. But I know I never stuck it into like an NES or anything. Not Another Game Collector says, awesome. Yes, it was awesome. I know I haven't tried 99 Vitas yet, but I'm looking forward to doing it, especially on your recommendation, sir. Square One says, I'd say 8 out of 10. So if it's 8 out of 10 and not 10 out of 10, is there anything in particular you'd say that holds it back? Because I did watch Gen X Grown Ups play a little bit of it. John was playing through, and he looked like he was having a blast with it. I've heard some people say, like, oh man, it takes too many shots, like conservative Christian America. And then I've heard people say, like, it's not that bad. And then I've heard people say it's sort of lukewarm in its story altogether. It doesn't really say a whole lot. But regardless of how you feel about its themes or its content, most of the people I've talked to who have played it have said the action itself was very fun. No, if anything, it's because it's deep silver, but it's newer. So, oh, well, that's unfortunate, I guess. But, at least you have it. I mean, I guess you could always flip it on eBay if you wanted to. Ramadan says, this weekend, grinding The Witcher 3, doing all the side quests to be high enough level for next stream on Monday. Right on. And listen, if you've got a great game, like some people don't like the grind. Personally, if I love a game, I love the grind. Like in Destiny, when people be like, it's too grindy, or at least the original. I think that's a less common critique of the sequel. But I really enjoyed just grinding it out. If gameplay is fun, then I don't mind doing it over and over, unless it gets to a point of tedium where you feel like you never make progress. But yeah, grinding was never really a huge downer for me, I guess. Tark's Gauntlet's here. Sanity is overrated, sir. It is indeed. And also, I would like you to know, I started your Parasite Eve retrospective the other day, but I only managed to get about 10 minutes in because work was absolutely insane. So one of my goals this weekend is to sit down and watch the entirety of your 45-minute exploration of that series. And it was weird. Like, I already had a comment filling up for it. I was talking about things like, oh yeah, I think I played this around Christmas, and I thought that was really interesting too, or how I thought it was really effective that the grid mechanic that would show up, seemed like it would be a fairly helpful thing in that game. But I think I can definitely relate to you saying it was too easy, because I do remember making progress in that game. I felt like easier than I should have, given that I did not have a lot of RPG experience at the time. Discard, staying sane, priority number 1. Sir, I'm glad you stopped by. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited for us to work on that video together, man. I've been thinking in my head of ways that we can do that and that I can make sure I keep the quality high. But I thought that was a very cool idea, and I'm excited to explore it with you. What are you doing today, Discard? Henry says, be right back. Tark says, I've seen reviewers knock points off it for not making conservative look worse. Yeah, I think I've seen that as well. That's not good reviewing if you ask me, huh? Yeah, I mean, do you have to take into account a game's narrative to give it a solid review? Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, games like Pac-Man, for example, don't stand the test of time because they had a compelling narrative, or indeed really any narrative. It's because the gameplay is fun. And if a game is fun, I don't necessarily think that it should be knocked too hard for story, unless that story just goes totally off the rails or something, or, is in effect incomplete perhaps. But generally, yes, I think gameplay is usually the reigning factor in how I would approach a video games review. Roaming Dan says, just received my copy of Far Cry 5 on Tuesday. Will stay sealed until Witcher 3 is complete. See, I have games in my backlog that are still sealed right now, and it's slowly killing me inside, because yes, I do want to play Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 on the Switch, and I do want to play Oscar Gumball Striker, which I always get the name wrong. Just one of those things that doesn't stick for me. And then I don't think I've opened LA Noire yet. I don't think I've opened even Bayonetta yet, which is killing me. But again, I'm hoping to rapid fire go through those at some point on a stream, perhaps. Love your stuff, by the way, Tarks. Unlike any other YouTube, yes, Tarks Gauntlet is amazing. If you guys enjoy a deeper dive into titles that, at least for me, would be a little bit more obscure, and honestly, Tarks, if you want to speak a little bit about what your channel's all about to give people better context, rather than just watching me fumble all over myself and botch a description of your content, that would be super. But what I can say is, based on the things that I've seen, particularly that sort of mini doc you did on Koei Tecmo, you really do your research on the videos that you put out, and you spend a lot of time making sure that delivery is top notch, and it's just really exceptionally well done, sir. And if you guys have not checked out Tarks, you think that content sounds interesting, hopefully he'll expand on it for you, but definitely worth a look. Square One says, as a complete game, campaign and multiplayer, I felt the multiplayer wasn't that great. The campaign was great, though. Right on. And that's the thing, like, I don't necessarily, a game doesn't have to have a multiplayer component. It's nice, but for me, I like games where I can just sit down and enjoy it by myself, no matter what, because you don't always have a player two around, right? Not always a player two around. There's a joke in there, but I can't put it together. Tark says, I just finished my review of Ni no Kuni, or my review of Ni no Kuni 2, I cannot talk today, on Patreon now, going live Tuesday. I'm expecting some angry subscribers. Oh man, it's weird because most of the reception I've read and indeed talked to people about in person, especially the cats at GameStop who were trying viciously to sell me a deluxe copy earlier. Most of the praise for Ni no Kuni 2 has been absolutely solid, sir. So would you be willing to give us any sort of a preview on that review and just maybe one thing that you think might irritate your subscribers? Don't give away everything. Don't betray your Patreon supporters or anything. But I would definitely be curious, just because I've heard nothing but lavish praise on that game. Discard, thanks, man. Yeah, man, I've been actively thinking about that video. Definitely need to nail down those details. Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, let's get together and talk sometime this week. This weekend, I'm sort of busy because I have to wrap up these 5 or 6 videos that I've got going out. But I'll hit you up on Twitter, and we can talk about that and get that video fleshed out because I'm excited to work with you. No problem, Tarks. That's commitment, Dan. You got me on Witcher, so that's on you, dude. So he's the one responsible for this murder. I'm glad to have a little bit of insight into why you indulged that game. Let's see. Discard, lots of negativity on the difficulty of Ni no Kuni. Because it's too easy or too difficult? I'm assuming the former, maybe? Hey, your player 2, plan to do some game hunting next month. So let me ask, Henry, what are some of the things that you'll be hunting for? Just out of curiosity, like which platforms? I know you've got an NES, sir, and I know you're a fan of that system. That Game Collector, hey, your player 2, sir, what's up? Thank you so much for dropping by. I appreciate it. And it was awesome talking to you on Twitter earlier. And I'm totally looking forward to this surprise you have for me, sir. That's very exciting. Roomy Dan says, that Game Collector. Yes, everyone should react with as much excitement, especially for a guy who's on a mission who, actually, no, I'm sorry. That Game Collector, you've already collected the entirety of the US original Xbox releases, correct, if I recall? And then right now, you are currently on a mission to collect the entirety of the Wii U catalog, as I understand it. Tark says, the most important things in JRPGs for me, the plot and character development. Ni no Kuni 2 seems to value the least. Where I need to succeed the most, it fails the hardest. Also way too easy. Okay, so I guess that is sort of, echoed in Discard sentiment then, that it's just too easy. Now, see, personally, that wouldn't be a problem for me. I don't mind easy games unless it's so mind-numbing that I feel like it would almost be less effort to just watch somebody play through it. For instance, like Persona 4 that I'm playing through on right now, and Sean did indeed critique me for being a filthy casual for doing so. I picked the easy mode, not very easy. I don't need completely baby mode or anything necessarily, but I don't like getting, especially in a narrative heavy game where I'm enjoying the story, I don't want to get so frustrated that I can't continue to see what's going to happen to these characters. And as somebody who has not played a Persona in years, and I'm basically diving into Persona 4 completely fresh with no understanding of its plot whatsoever, I'm having a great deal of fun with it, and the fact that I haven't gotten stock yet is fine, and I still feel like the battles are fun, despite the fact that I'm not banging my head against a wall. PS1 games, NES, maybe GameCube. Right on, man. Any title in particular you're looking for, Henry? Discard, Ni no Kuni 2 is very easy, not much of a challenge. Yeah, I'm getting that impression, and if I'm gonna take somebody's word for it, sir, Tarks Gauntlet, I know that if he's going to take this position on it, I know he's done his homework on it for sure. That Game Collector, just the exclusive. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that just the exclusives for the Wii U, you mean, or did you mean the exclusives for the Xbox? Trying to remember. For Xbox. No, you clarified. Sorry, I didn't read it far down enough. Just cranked open my 2 blind boxes from Limited Run Games. Got Crawl and Night Trap. Dude, I would have loved to have had both of those titles. Crawl is, well, no, I had to take that back. Crawl, I want to play on the Switch. Sadly, I don't think it's going to get a physical release on the Switch unless Limited Run Games re-releases one. Which, speaking of which, has anyone in here have any interest in Limited Run Games physical Switch releases? Because I did just order that Thimbleweed big box because one, it was the first one, and two, I have a great fondness for games in that style, and I'd sort of put off playing that game, so now I don't mind waiting, I guess, until July when that finally comes in. But I spent a lot of time in my youth playing like point-and-click adventure games like The Island of Dr. Brain, The Colonel's Bequest, The Dagger of Amun-Ra, the follow-up to that, because my parents were super into it, and we used to play a lot of PC games when I was a kid. Where we at? Hold on. For Xbox sub, did you see Rob one out and take a nap? Oh, that took me a second. Thank you for clarifying the acronym, Mer. I'm gonna hold that. I'm gonna hold on to that forever now. That's stuck in my brain. Thank you. I still have enjoyed Ni no Kuni 2. I play it in a laid-back kind of way. Yeah, I mean, that would probably be my approach too. I mean, I'm not at all a completionist when it comes to most games, and I don't really ever play games with the intention of having something to prove. I know some people are like, oh, you're not a hardcore gamer if you played it on easy. Don't care. I just don't. Never been that way. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I did, something that was, particularly awesome or difficult in the game, I would certainly be proud of that accomplishment. Be like, yeah, I totally did that. But I would never just be like, oh, I'm going to put myself through, a veritable video game hell just for the bragging rights of doing so. Just not really my speed. Hey dude, as per my channel description, click to it carefully. I take professional and honest looks at very niche things, and a lot of the times that means pretty lewd games and JRPGs. So not for everybody, but it's a service that I offer I feel others wouldn't bother with. Plus, it's just fun to look at B-grade games. Well, I mean, and that's the thing, right? I mean, there's absolutely an audience for that type of content, man. And like, everybody has different tastes. So while it may not be everyone's cup of tea, the fact that you recognize that there's a need for it and then you try to remain very particularly focused in serving that audience, I think is a really smart strategy for your channel. And in fact, something that I'm trying to do with this channel, albeit I'm not, sort of examining very focused B-grade, games like you just referenced, but rather I'm just trying to help other gaming channels grow, have a little bit of fun along the way, and hopefully get to play a few video games myself every now and then. But ultimately try to provide tips that I think will be useful for people. And again, if anybody here is unfamiliar with this channel or you're kind of new here, that would be on Mondays. I try to do channel growth tips and things that are more basically strategy related for YouTube. And then on Fridays, I try to dive into more technical aspects, and that would be things like editing or, camera gear or production tips and things like that. So if you're into that kind of thing or trying to grow a YouTube channel, let me know what you need, because that's essentially the entirety of what I'm trying to accomplish here. Ramadan, that's awesome, Retro Hank. I would like to get Night Trap. I would too, because I watched my uncle play it, and I was really terrified by that game when I was growing up. Henry says, I've been looking for games that are shoot 'em up related or RPGs. Right on, sir. And I'm trying to, and you were on PS1. There was an old PS1 RPG that my buddy's little brother used to play, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. And it's all I remember is people walking around and opening a lot of treasure chests. But I feel like that could apply to like any RPG, really. Or at least a lot of them. So good luck in your search, Henry. Discard, yeah, I'm all in on Limited Run Games first release for Switch, along with Super Rare Games first release. Now, Mods from L1 did recently order from Super Rare. I had not previously been familiar with Super Rare, but it's something that I would like to explore. I think they did a physical release of Human Fall Flat, and I think they're based out of the UK, aren't they? That Game Collector, want to know a great RPG to play that got shit on? Paper Mario Color Splash. I kind of think Limited Run should have stuck with PS4 and PS Vita and let another company try out for Switch. I mean, I could see that maybe, but at the same time, I mean, they're going to go where the money is, sir. And, there's a lot of love for the Switch out there for sure. Now, Paper Mario Color Splash, that was for the 3DS, if I recall. Is that the one that you're referring to? Not another Game Collector. I just hacked my SNES Classic last night and got all kinds of great games now. Now, how many games can you actually fit on an SNES Classic, that Game Collector? Because I know that you can hack it, but I thought that based on the memory limitations, you could only add like an extra 30 or something. Do you think it's really worth it to pursue that? And was the hack dangerous to perform? It's cool that both of your parents enjoy playing video games. Yes, it's very cool because I grew up playing it with them, and then more recently I live streamed with Mom when she came up to visit. We played Kirby Star Allies. Dad's still really into Destiny 2, and he's playing a lot of Sea of Thieves actually right now with my mom, because they both have copies. And he was like, because I had actually taken his old Xbox One when he got an Xbox One S to watch like 4K movies on it. And he was like, well, hey, he's like, can we get that old Xbox back? You bring it down to the house because your mom wants to play Sea of Thieves. I was like, sure, totally. That's what's up, Tarks. Anime boobies for the win. I mean, who doesn't love them? Well, Tarks, you look like my kind of channel, being a fan of JRPGs and niche games. MC Mirror, I only started because I couldn't find a good, honest review of a game I was looking at. And I feel like that's how a lot of great ideas come to fruition, right? You see a problem that nobody's solving, and then you solved it, sir, by trying to offer great content that provided, I would assume, sound and well-reasoned insight into those games, or at least in my experience watching your stuff. Mer says that's a good reason there are some really fake reviews on YouTube. Yes, there are a lot of reviews on YouTube, I think. And that's the thing. I think that's why I tend to shy away from reviews, because I can't devote the dedicated time to doing one that I think would be required to really give people an in-depth look at everything a game has to offer. I mean, a lot of games are 40, 50, 60 hours long, and I usually don't have the time to dive into an affair that deeply, or I guess to analyze it on such an objective level that I can really offer anything beyond my own personal, very biased opinions on it, which I think a good review should probably not be that. Sometimes playing those games for the sake of review is playing absolute garbage and missing gold like Persona 5, but I want to provide the service. And I think, and that's the thing, it is a sacrifice, right? There are times when there are certain games I would rather be playing, but I know that another game is going to be a better fit for the channel, so I'll put that game off. And sadly, that's another path to my backlog, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say. Where are we at? This card says the tips on gear and video creation are very interesting. I've been picking up small things from each video. Right on, man. Well, I'm glad to hear it. And if there's ever any questions I can answer about any of that stuff, again, I'm not like Stanley Kubrick over here or nothing, but, if there's, a question you have about software or hardware or the gear that I use, I'm happy to answer those questions. And if I can't, I'll certainly try to put you in touch with somebody that can, because I'm not the only cat who's helping people grow their YouTube channels. I just try to do it specifically for people who run gaming channels. And I can tell you, having an amazing graphic designer like this guy is a huge help. You want to say hi to the live stream, Jason?
I live stream.
Jason, he's the reason everything looks so pretty. And he also is pretty. He's a great roommate.
Maybe a great roommate, not pretty.
Not pretty?
Yeah.
He's just being modest. So, you out?
I'm out.
All right, have a good one, man.
Yeah.
Let's see. Where are we? Did you see you just picked up Sudeki on Xbox? Which I'm sure I just butchered that pronunciation. I apologize. Nice heck, that game is a hidden gem, in my opinion. Yeah, I play a lot of games day one that end up smelling like the dwarves on PS4. I keep hearing you talk about that. My review on that, I was so mad in. Paper Mario Color Splash is Wii U for now. Oh, that's right. I think I said that because I saw a Paper Mario on the 3DS when I was at GameStop earlier, and I couldn't remember the subtitle for it, so for some reason I was thinking that was it. All right, your player 2. Gotta go later, everyone. Henry Gonzalez, good luck on your pickup, sir, and thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. Later, pal. Yeah, I still picked up the dwarves even after your review, Mur. All the music is done by Blind Guardian, so I had to get it. Old PS1 RPGs, Josh. It could be beyond the beyond. Oh, wait. Are you saying that... Wait, I'm not sure what you're referring to, Run Me Down. I might have missed that one. A little slow on the uptake. Game was actually good. The game was a picture sandwich. Glowing information, Mer. I dig it. Gamer Thumb, what's up, man? How are you? Tuning in while ignoring my customers at work. Sir, I'm glad that I could help contribute to your job delinquency. I hope you're having a wonderful day despite the fact that you're stuck at work. And I do hope you get that problem sorted out with your stream. I'm sorry I couldn't really offer much better for you when we were talking on Twitter earlier, but I have not seen that happen. I don't know how a 2-hour stream instantly gets chunked down to a 15-minute archived video, but I hope that gets sorted out. The only thing that I've seen happen is occasionally, I forgot to change the title of a video after I tested it. And then it would sort of roll the live video that I meant to be public facing into the private one that I use for testing, where I sit there like an idiot and say things like jump, the stuff I don't necessarily want to stream. So I've had that happen a few times, but as far as the situation you described, I don't believe I've seen that. That game player, try and help out my buddies where I can right now. Carlsberg, what's up? How are you? And happy Saturday to you, miss. Also, for those of you who are not familiar, and I know a lot of you have already heard me say this, but go check out Carlsberg's Trash or Trash when you get a chance. More particularly, recently she did Renegade Ops, which is a game I was completely unfamiliar with, and I'm really excited to play it as soon as I figure out how to stream PC games effectively, because I'm only doing console right now, Carlsberg. But that game just looks insanely fun, and I can't wait to play it. Blind Guardian did a game soundtrack. Does Hansi still do vocals on it, or is it just instrumental? All right, this is going to a dark place that I can't commentate on effectively, Tark. So I'm just going to let you roll with this in the chat, because I have no idea. So I'm just going to smile and nod a lot. 15-second archive video, LOL. Oh, wait, did I say 15-minute? because I think I do remember you saying it was 15 seconds and seeing that in the screenshot now that I think about it. But yeah, that's still completely insane that a 2-hour video would somehow become that after it was done publishing. I have no idea how that would happen, unless there was some network communications interruption potentially, and YouTube just thought the video was done and only gave you the first 15 seconds. Hey, that game collector, how many games are exclusive on Xbox? You said that you don't remember the PS1 JRPG that your friend was playing, but oh, that's right. With a lot of chess. I'm sorry, that's what you were referring to. No, it wasn't that. It was. It reminded me from a presentation standpoint of like maybe Final Fantasy IX, but it was something else that was a little bit more obscure. Or at least obscure to me. It was definitely not a mainstream RPG series that I'm familiar with. I'm doing well, says Carlsberg. I can help you with PC streaming. It's super easy. Just hit me up on Twitter. I will absolutely do that. I'm not sure exactly when I'll be into it. That doesn't mean we can't, just play it for fun at some point. I don't necessarily have to stream it, but yeah, I definitely want to get that game. Mur, are you taking off? Hold on. Gotta run, dudes. Have fun. All right, Mur, thanks so much for stopping by. Still envious of your phenomenal pickups video earlier this week, and I hope you have a wonderful day as well. Sadly, nobody gave me this pile of games like you got, so I had to pay cash money for them. So, but take care. Romy Dan, I'll look for the songs. Let's see his love, man. Thanks for the info. See ya. Drop a like. Oh, yeah. Yes. And for anybody else here who hasn't liked this yet, if you do indeed like it, please throw me a like. That would be super helpful. And one day I'll remember to ask at the beginning of the stream. 264 retro hack with a few that are up to people to decide if they really are in their opinion, which I am stating in each video as they come out. First one is recorded and should be out soon. What games did you get, Josh? Yes, let me run back through those one more time with a sort of quick backstory on each of them. So what I got was Chrono Trigger for the DS. Now, I technically got this last week, but Die Hard Gamer Bros, Jeff, was kind enough to say, hey, man, I've got a box and a manual, and he actually shipped them to me like super fast. So I only have it complete now because Jeff was kind enough to do so from Die Hard Gamer Bros. Next up, Ridge Racer for the PlayStation Portable. It was one of I think the first game I probably got for that system, and I really had a lot of fun playing it. I was blown away that a game could look that good in portable format when it first came out in 2006, I think. Maybe 2005? I thought it was 6. Onimusha Warlords for the PlayStation 2, which was a game that I thought was creepy and action-packed, and the fact that it was a Capcom game, and I was really into Resident Evil at the time. I played this in high school with a couple of friends, and we had a lot of fun with it. And as a seasonal gamer, love playing those kind of creepy games in October. Next up, Need for Speed Most Wanted, which I spent a lot of time playing in college, and specifically on the GameCube, so I was pretty happy to find this version of the game out and about. So went ahead and grabbed it because I just had an absolute blast with it. And again, Need for Speed's been sort of hit or miss for a lot of people, but I thought it was very stylized. I thought the action was solid, and I remember being particularly impressed with, I believe, like the rain effects that would happen in that game, if I'm remembering correctly. Next up, The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, which originally I had it on the GameCube, not on the PlayStation 2, but for $5. How could I turn this down, especially when I just bought the Hulk for the Sega Genesis? So got that as well. And also Contra Shattered Soldier, which was one of the first blue bottom discs that I ever had for the PlayStation 2. And sadly, the first one to show me that there were issues with reading blue bottom discs for the early PlayStation 2 hardware. And that would become the first of about 4 PlayStation 2s that I would go through. So I ended up having to return it, and then the new one didn't work either, so that wasn't great. Bayou Billy for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Nostalgia has a copy of this. I've heard that it's a quirky experience that's worth indulging, and thanks to what everyone's told me in chat today about also needing that you can also play with the Zapper, and it's like Double Dragon with the Zapper, or that you can play a Double Dragon but also use a Zapper. Just sounds completely insane to me, so I'm curious. And finally, Secret of Mana that I got for $30 instead of the retail 40, because at some point I'd love to compare and contrast Secret of Mana from the SNES Classic that I have with this version, because I know a lot of people had questionable feelings about it. Never played that game growing up, and as I understand it, and has been confirmed in the chat, has a limited run on the PlayStation 4 in physical form. So I was like, for $30, absolutely, let's give it a shot. I'm sure I can make a cool video out of it. So that's what I got. Uncle Strange, what's up, man? Thanks for coming by. I appreciate it. And you also, well, no, you're playing Far Cry 3 right now. We were talking about Far Cry 5 earlier. Square One Games was going to continue playing that, I think. And I think Roaming Dan said he was also playing it. Sorry, I'm trying to remember now. Onimusha needs an HD collection. Okay, so it doesn't have one then. I thought that it may, and I had just forgotten about it. But hearing you say that, I completely agree. I would love to play an HD remake of this. That being said, I'm happy to break out that PS2 I picked up a couple of weeks ago and play it, especially as we get closer to October. And speaking of Gabriel, I know you're super excited for October, and you already have content planned out for that month. I'm the same way. I can't ironclad say for all 31 days in October I know exactly what's going to come out on this channel, but I've got a lot of great ideas for it and ideas that I will absolutely be executing on, because October is one of my favorite months of the year. It's much better hoodie weather than what we're dealing with right now. Yeah, I have no idea why this hasn't happened either, Game with them. Uncle says, I'm great. How are you guys? Dude, I'm good, man. I just picked up a bunch of new games, or new to me, I guess. Pre-owned games, not really new. Nothing new in this lot. And then basically my goal for the rest of the day is I need to basically rewire everything for streaming. Right now it's functional, but it's very aesthetically ugly, and I don't like that because it makes it difficult for me to find which cables go in where, and that drives me up a wall. So I will spend the next 2 or 3 hours sitting in my laundry room redoing the entire vertical streaming rack that I have set up with all of my consoles hooked up to it, so I can do stream from the couch easier. And later on tonight, I'll probably be streaming some Minecraft, or perhaps, finally, I would like to hook up the Super NT analog and play some original SNES cards. That would be a lot of fun. Not too shabby. Thank you for asking. Glad to hear Saturday is treating you well. Yes, absolutely. It is treating me very well. And I got a burrito earlier, so that's really awesome. Great pickup so far, Josh. Some great titles. Chrono Trigger, Secret of Mana. Yeah, actually, I didn't even think about that. Those are both, I guess, a couple of pretty classic and revered RPGs, and it didn't even occur to me until you just said it that I picked them up essentially in the same, well, not really the same day, but in the same week at least, for the purposes of the stream, I guess. Solid pickups is that, Game Collector. Oh, right. So I'm glad you dug them, sir. You're the one that asked me to show them. Any of you excited about Spider-Man coming on September 7th or the Spyro Reignited compilation? Spyro, less so. Spider-Man, super excited for it. I think that looks phenomenal. I'm hoping that the combat is at least on par with what we've gotten out of the Arkham games. And that collector's edition looks sick. And 20% off means I can get it for like $120 or something instead of $140, $150. Probably going to have to get that, even though a lot of people are questioning how great that Spider-Man statue is going to be that's included with it. Sean hates the idea of the statue. I was like, and he's a huge Spider-Man fan, probably a bigger Spider-Man fan than I am. And he was like, well, I don't care about the statue because you can't pose a statue, and that's stupid. So he has pretty strong feelings about that. But this is a guy who also has an Instagram that is filled with very carefully posed Star Wars action figures, so I could see why he'd be hesitant to indulge the purchase. But speaking personally, I think that looks phenomenal, and I'm expecting great things from the game. And even the collector's edition is a little bit steep, I think, for what you're getting. It still looks pretty nice. I hate that I have to wait till September for it. Spyro, I'm not opposed to playing Spyro. I didn't play it when it first came out, so I don't really have an emotional connection to it. The same way Secret of Mana, I don't have an emotional connection to it. No real sentiment there or nostalgia to really indulge. It's just something that I would look at as a curiosity, and if I had nothing else to play that week, I would absolutely give it a shot. But, you know, I can't say I'm more excited about that than Spider-Man. Let's see. Far Cry 5, almost every day in October. I love Halloween too. Superhero Game Squad, what's up? Just showing up out of nowhere, throwing me $2. I really appreciate it. You guys have a wonderful day as well. It's so cool. And if you guys are familiar with Superhero Game Squad, you should be, because they're the most high energy channel in the history of the visual medium. Not even joking. Go check out their channel and tell me that you don't feel like you just need to do some yoga to calm down, because good Lord, it's phenomenal and incredibly well produced. And Rip, Ralph, and Mikey are super down to earth, cool guys who will apparently throw you $2 for talking about how much you like Spider-Man more than Spyro. So, guys, I appreciate it. Dan, I'm pre-ordering Spider-Man. So stoked. Strange. I'm gonna have to do the same thing. I'll probably go to Best Buy tomorrow and pre-order because I can't help myself. Far Cry 5 is still sealed until Witcher 3 is complete. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I got that backwards, roaming down. I'm getting the collector's edition of Spider-Man because I want the statue too. And Chris Levi, thank you for coming by the stream. Got to hang out with you a little bit last night. And Rax the Great was hanging out with Chris last night. And he was actually playing Lucky's Tale, a game that I actually really enjoy. I think it's adorable and mechanically a lot of fun. Although I did not play the version he's played. I've only played Lucky's Tale on the Oculus Rift, which was a really great experience now that I think about it, because you would think that a third-person perspective wouldn't be that interesting in VR, because VR by definition is supposed to be a very immersive sort of experience. But it's really pretty and quite phenomenal. It's almost like looking over a table or you know, just looking at a diorama, I suppose, of a bunch of action unfolding before you. And the camera perspective works really way better than I expected it would have, because I was very skeptical of that game at the Oculus launch. I never liked the way Spyro control, but I'm happy for others. Fair enough, Tarks. I suppose that would be where I'm at. I can't speak to how it controlled, but I'm happy for the people that are excited about it, because I know that a lot of people have been wanting that for quite a long time. Thanks, man. I'm at my son's baseball game, but had to run to the restroom and saw you streaming. Dude, please don't take time away from your family to come listen to me ramble about video games, although I sincerely appreciate the support. But yeah, dude. And Chris Levi, good lord, dude, dropping me $5. You guys are crazy. I'm not even doing anything even really that crazy interesting, right? I'm just holding up some video games to the camera, and it's not even that well lit. It's all, very glary right now. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Superhero Game Squad, what's up? Hey, Chris. Adios, my good man. Dude, yes. Take care and go have fun with your family, man. And buy that game collector. Yeah, just incredibly cool. So, yeah, Chris Levi, sir, how are you doing today? But, if you guys aren't familiar with Chris Levi, he may be one of the most genuine, down-to-earth people that I've met on YouTube so far. Like, the dude I don't want to say he's got tons of energy, because I don't know if he has as much. I don't know if anybody has as much energy as Superhero Game Squad, but he's incredibly genuine, and he's got a huge heart for other people, and that really comes through in his delivery and the narration on his content. So you should absolutely give him a look as well. And I'm not just saying that because he gave me $5. If he gave me $5 and it was garbage over there, I would not send you over there. So while we're sort of talking about like upcoming game releases that people are excited for, like what would be like your most anticipated titles right now? Because I would be curious to talk about that a little bit more, because one, I want to know what you guys like, but then two, I have not stayed real up on the most like, I know that Tropical Freeze is coming out for the Switch, and I'll be looking forward to that, but I'm trying to think about what else is coming out aside from the stuff that I think I saw on the Nintendo Direct, and I'm sure that I've missed some stuff over the past couple weeks of gaming news, as I've been completely super slammed lately. Tark says Yakuza 6. I really want to check that. Yakuza is a series that I always wanted to check out, but then I felt like it got so far in that I was like, oh, is it even worth it at this point? Or should I just watch a bunch of cutscenes to catch up and then just play the latest entry? Which is probably what I'll end up having to do for Kingdom Hearts too, now that I think about it. God of War. Yes, I am excited for God of War. And in fact, I do want to find the God of War HD collection for the Vita in physical form. I have not tracked it down yet, but that's something I'm keeping an eye out, because not both, but which one was it? I think it was the one that came. Was it Chains of Olympus, the PSP one that came with the red Kratos PSP, that bundle that came out like forever ago? Because I did play through that and I really enjoyed it. And I know that playing games like that in a handheld, especially one with the really crispy OLED screen that the Vita has, is something I'm definitely down for. God of War looks really good. It looks really sweet, and that's in 13 days. Oh my God, you're right. That is right around the corner. I need to make sure that I'm ready for that. God of War, Spider-Man, and Lego Incredibles, believe it or not. Well, I mean, I'm excited to see a sequel to The Incredibles. I hope it's solid, and it's so weird. Like, I actually rewatched The Incredibles not too long ago. And it's amazing how much sort of adult humor there is in that. And I don't mean adult like in like a crass way necessarily. I just mean like an adult sort of mentality way of the things that you have to think about in contrast to being a child and considering some situations, which I thought was, I mean, I guess that's, if you've seen a Pixar film, that's nothing new, I guess. But it's one of the things that endears me to those films. I'm dead to the world when God of War comes out. I assume we'll see a lot of God of War content on your channel then, Gamer Thumb. My next game is Detroit Become Human. Sir, I will be looking forward to that, because that's from the same cast that did Heavy Rain, and before that, what was the other game that they did? Well, they also did what? Beyond Two Souls, I think was the name. Help me, Willem Dafoe. Was that the one? But Heavy Rain I actually really enjoyed, despite like the shot, like that meme. I really like that game a lot. Even though those are more of experience, I think those are borderline, I feel like, visual novels almost, because the interactivity is a little bit low, and they are certainly quick time event heavy. But they always push the boundaries of what could be done graphically, which I always appreciated. So I'm always sort of keeping an eye on games like that whenever they make an appearance. State of Decay 2, never played the original, so I can't speak to it. Red Dead 2, yes, I am excited for sure, because Redemption was good, and I repurchased Revolver a few weeks back for the PS2, so I could dive back into that prior to its release. Kingdom Hearts 3, excited for it, but I really need to get into HD Remix 1 and 2, and what I'll probably do is play the series main entries to the best of my ability, since I did pick that up about a month ago at this point, I think. But I probably will have to break down and just watch the cutscenes online, because I really do want to enjoy that game and dive into it, but I feel like I've missed so much that's going to be tough. The Incredibles is a very grounded movie. You watch the deleted scene where his wife had a nightmare that he was cheating on. No, I did not see that, Tarks. But now I feel compelled to do so. Let's see. Incredibles is the best Pixar movie in my opinion. I really like The Incredibles. Would I call it the best Pixar movie? I don't know, man. Like, because there's been a ton of great Pixar movies over the years. I don't even think there's been a single Pixar movie that I would point to and say is categorically bad. In that way, I kind of equate it to the Marvel movies. Like, a lot of Marvel movies are not necessarily as good as other Marvel movies, but it's really hard to point to a single one of them and say that one's category. I mean, in the MCU, we could certainly point at Ghost Rider or Daredevil and say, yeah, those were bad. But, when it comes to, that level of quality, would I call it the best? I don't know. I really liked Up a lot, and that intro sequence was one of the hardest things to watch ever. So I don't know necessarily that, it's not my, is it my favorite? I don't know. I'm just gonna have to think about it, man. That's too much mental math for me to do right now. Detroit, Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, Indigo Prophecy, and Omicron Nomad Soul, which I'm not familiar with that one. I think that's their whole library. Now, I do have Indigo Prophecy, which wasn't that Fahrenheit, I think, in a different part of the world, Tarks. Correct me if I'm wrong here. The Good Dinosaur was kind of boring. That was Pixar, right? I'm not sure. I didn't see that. I don't think. Crows, what's up? I did not even see you come in. How's your Saturday going? Phenomenally, I hope. Howard the Duck was so bad it was good. Also, the first Marvel movie. You know what? I have not seen Howard the Duck. Although I appreciate that he had a cameo, right, in Guardians, even though I guess a lot of people, it was weird, right? I think that the theater was sort of half split on that when it happened. My dad just kind of rolled his eyes like, oh my God, Howard the Duck. And then some people were like, yeah, it's Howard the Duck. Like, seemed very divisive, I think. Going very well, thanks. Absolutely. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Picked up some cool stuff today. Howard the Duck is a classic, Uncle. Chris 16-bit, what's up, man? How goes it? I assume you're continuing your move. How's that process going? Howard the Duck is a classic. All right, I got to bounce. I'll catch you later. Tarks, dude, thanks so much for coming out. Really appreciate it. And I will let you know what I think of that Parasite Eve video, although I'm sure I won't be disappointed, sir. You have a wonderful day. Guardians is definitely my favorite Marvel film. I think that is actually Jason's favorite film, second only maybe to Captain America Winter Soldier, which is phenomenal. I think that's actually Sean's favorite Marvel film, too. If I had to pick an absolute favorite Marvel film out of all of them, that's tough. Like the first Avengers, it's hard not to love that, right? Because, I mean, that was just bombastic in every sense of the word, and that was the result of like 10 years of waiting. Or, well, not 10 years, but I guess it would have 5 years leading up to it. I guess now we're getting is 10 years with Infinity War. But as far as my favorite individual one, a strong argument can be made for Thor Ragnarok. I'm sorry, but I love that they let, I think it's the director Waititi, I think if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, the fact that they just looked at this dude and were like, hey, you're the guy that made What We Do in the Dark, right? Or What We Do in the Shadows. Like, I can't remember the exact name because I did watch it with a buddy of mine. They were like, yeah, do you want to take one of the, most profitable film franchises in all time and make a buddy cop movie with Thor and Hulk? And he was like, yeah, okay. And then he did an amazing job. Now, I know a lot of people were turned off by the comedic aspect of that, but I was not one of them. I thought that was phenomenal. Where are we at? Hey, Goblin's in here too. What's up, man? How are you doing today? Is your Saturday going phenomenally? Did you get any tacos today or anything super cool? Don't ask. Boxes everywhere. Moving on the 26th, so only a few weeks now. Dude, I've moved a few times, and I know that is a physically, mentally, and emotionally taxing event. So I hope that you get through it okay and that you get into your new place and that it is phenomenal, sir. I hope it's very nice for you. Oak City, what's up, man? It's just everybody is in here today. It is phenomenal. Pixar films are like ice cream flavors. There's a flavor for everyone. I think it's a pretty good analogy, actually. Ant-Man. So Ant-Man's your favorite one, Uncle Strange? Like if you had to pick a single Marvel film to be your absolute favorite above all of them, it's Ant-Man? Not that I don't love it. Again, Paul Rudd is like a cinematic golden retriever. He's so infinitely lovable that, I love Ant-Man. I think it's great. I would not put it at the absolute best, though. That would be a tough sell for me. I liked Guardians of the Galaxy 2 a lot. So did I, Goblin. And the thing is, like, a lot of people are like, well, it's not as good as the original, but how in the world could you have lived up to the original? The original came out of nowhere, and that was just Marvel showing off, right? Because I remember, like, I can't remember who the creative director was for DC films at the time, but he was talking about, basically making a Justice League movie, and if that would involve Martian Manhunter, he's like, well, we're not going to put in Martian Manhunter. That's ridiculous. And it's sort of like, meanwhile, at Marvel, it shows like Rocket on Groot. Like, they took basically a B or C list comic and heroes that 90% probably of the US was not familiar with, certainly people that weren't familiar with comic books at all. And then they turned it into a blockbuster, just powerhouse franchise out of nowhere. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was never going to live up to the first because it was too tremendous. It just became an instant sort of pop culture icon, right? But that being said, you've got Kurt Russell in there, and Kurt Russell's no slouch. And even as that captain a little bit long in the tooth, he's still killing it and did an amazing job as Star-Lord's dad. So I thought it was a really fun movie. I still thought it had a lot of the humor of the original, and visually, I thought it was just staggering, right? I actually watched that on an HDR television because my parents have an HDR TV. I do not have one of those, so I'm not that fancy. But the colors on that were just amazing. Same with Valerian too, now that I think about it. That was not nearly as good of a movie. My favorite is Ant-Man and Captain America 2. Captain America 2 is a hard choice to argue with. That was, I don't know, that was just a very cool story, the way that it was told, and it was kind of an interesting sort of genre choice, I guess, in which to place that film. And I thought, that they were willing to do something fun and interesting with it, make Captain America more attractive to me as a hero, because normally I'm an Iron Man guy all the way. But, Cap, even though he was a total Boy Scout, in Winter Soldier, that sort of got turned on its head, right? He had to really sort of question his loyalty. And I think that's a really interesting arc for him, and also for Tony, initially, that Tony completely rejects government oversight. Cap completely embraces government oversight. And then we sort of have the Sokovia Accord, Civil War happens, and then they completely reverse positions, with Tony saying, oh yeah, you know what, actually we do need accountability and we need to be kept in check as heroes. We're going to be running all over the world using very high-powered weapons to combat threats and foes that may or may not be government sanctioned. And then you've got Captain America, who's completely against that, thinking, you know what, we can't trust government anymore. We really need to just stick together and do what's right and trust our own judgment. Very cool the way those two sort of switch positions. That Game Collector Oak City, how it's going? Yes, sir. Doing well, that Game Collector. Have a good one, everyone. Just got home. Got to go film my 2 years on YouTube video. Right on. Sir, you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for coming by Gamer-Thumb TV, and I do hope you get that stream video sorted out. Hopefully we can talk some more soon. Old Style Gaming. Hey, man, missed your pickups. Just seen the stream icon. I will run through them one more time real quick, but I'm not going to give nearly as much exposition. And I really need to figure out, how to make this format work. I should just immediately tweet the picture. I keep forgetting to do it. Chrono Trigger for the DS, which I already picked up, but it was actually the case and the instruction manual itself were provided by Die Hard Gamer Bros, who was very, very cool of him to make that donation. Ridge Racer for the PSP. Bayou Billy for the NES on Nostalgia's recommendation, really. Contra Shattered Soldier, which I'm not the biggest Contra fan in the world, but I had a lot of fun with this game, and it was just in such phenomenal shape, I couldn't say no. Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction for the PlayStation 2, which is great because we've been talking a lot about Marvel movies over the past few minutes. Need for Speed Most Wanted for the GameCube, which is a game that I just had a lot of fun with and thought looked really pretty back in the day. Onimusha, which I thought was an amazing new IP for Capcom when it first came out. Plus, I was already a huge fan of what they'd done with Resident Evil. So, to sort of have this action-based sort of, well, I guess not feudal Japan, but, definitely this sort of kind of creepy exploration of a Japanese setting was a lot of fun, I thought. And finally, Secret of Mana, which I got for $30 instead of $40 because it was pre-owned at GameStop because somebody traded it in. Again, did not necessarily have a fondness for the game, but the fact that it was a limited physical run, and I thought I could explore the original and the SNES Classic and compare and contrast that with the Secret of Mana that so many people seem to be iffy on for the PS4 seemed like a fun opportunity. So those are the games. One of my favorite Marvel movies was Blade 2. It's hard not to like Blade 2. Blade 3, different story. But Blade 2, yes, it was absolutely fun. Ooh, Deadpool was pretty cool too. Yes, it was phenomenal. And I cannot wait for the sequel. And I love that Deadpool had so much clout and so much power in terms of what it was going to do with that sequel that it made even Marvel just be like, yeah, we're going to roll back that Infinity War release just a week or two so we don't have to compete with the second round sales on that, going toe to toe with an immediate opening for Deadpool on that release weekend. Probably a smart business strategy, even though they're just going to swallow up Fox's entertainment division anyways. And Deadpool will belong to them within 2 years. So probably a moot point. Adult superhero movie. Yes, Deadpool absolutely is. Kristen Levi says, yes, let's see. Yet I'll say that I just remembered Logan 1 is with 2 I said right behind. Yeah, Logan is phenomenal. Well, Josh, I have to get back to work, but I appreciate your streams and all the videos you've been posting recently. Take it easy, chat. Square One, thank you again for coming by. And again, for those of you who aren't familiar with Square One games, everything that I've ever done from a post-production standpoint related to just giving you video game content that is educational in some way or gives you a deeper insight into things like achievement hunting or trophy hunting, you should be checking out Square One games. It is phenomenally well done. Oak City says, I like the new Thor film. I mean, I couldn't pick, and it's like having a fun thing every time a Marvel film comes out. Yeah, you never know what you're going to get. All you know is that you're almost certain to get a good time out of it, even though you don't know exactly which genre or what's going to happen. There's not a single one of those films that's come out, except for maybe the original Hulk, that I was like, that was like the best time ever. Almost all of them have had that effect on me. And I'm super biased, though, because I grew up a Marvel kid. Old Style Gaming, I know Ryan really took, let's wait, really took me by surprise. Lots of crazy pieces of camera, self-deprecating comic book film jokes, very meta. Yes, Deadpool was extremely meta, and if this trailer's any indication, Chris 16-bit, I think we're going to be in for a lot of the same, which is completely fine with me, because good lord, do I love me some Ryan Reynolds. Loved Logan. Oh yeah, Bayou Billy. I don't know what to expect from this game, but I'm absolutely going to fire it up at some point. You know, if I ever get to the point, maybe in 2021 or 2022, where I do a year's worth of NES streams, this will definitely be on there, but I'll probably play it before then. I gotta go as well. Thanks for an awesome stream as always. See you all later. Roaming Dan, thank you so much for coming by and your continued support. Super appreciate it. You have a wonderful day, sir, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Make it a good one. Oak City Gamers, I forgot about Logan. That was good. Perhaps my favorite X-Men film. Yeah, that's, and the noir version of that is super good. I've watched that as well. If you have a good sound system too and you watch Logan, that's just a phenomenal film. And not even like oh, okay, it's a great comic book movie. No, that's just a good movie. Super good. Big fan. I have Logan because Wolverine is my favorite character of all time. For me personally, I would go with Nightcrawler, sir, because I actually do have him tattooed right here. That was mine and my dad's favorite character growing up. And what's funny is I have this tattoo of Nightcrawler here. Actually, I should probably just go ahead and show it. But my dad does not have any tattoos, but he agreed at some point to get a tattoo. I would like to get him to get basically a poof of smoke, like on his arm or on his leg or something. And because he introduced me to the Nightcrawler character, and he's sort of mid-Banff right here, I thought it would be cool to see if my dad had a tattoo of just the cloud of smoke with like the Banff letters next to it, as if he basically just teleported from him to me, which is essentially what he did, right? He introduced me to that character and helped me develop a fond appreciation for it. So, yeah, I think that would be an amazing tattoo, like a neat little father-son thing there. Ridge Racer is great on the PSP. That's a great. It was so beautiful when I first played it, and that fondness that I have for its presentation and how blown away I was that I could get that experience in a handheld is what caused me to reacquire it. And now that I'm very much not really trading things in anymore. So true. It was poignant. Logan had these beats that hit the strings. Yeah, dude, no joke. And I didn't even realize that in the previous Wolverine film, there was actually a reference to what would basically happen in Logan, which I think a lot of people missed. I only knew about it because somebody shared it with me on Facebook. I also like a game called Split Second Velocity on the PSP. Have you played that? No, sir. I've never even heard of Split Second Velocity, but this is why I keep spreadsheets ready. So when you guys make a recommendation, or if there's something that you think I should check out, that I can immediately do so. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right now, actually, and put your name down. Old Style. Hold on. Again, that's the thing. I did finally finish my video game collection spreadsheet at least in as much that it is functional. And so I will be sharing that. So if anybody wants to peruse it or make suggestions on Twitter, you'll be able to look at my entire collection in spreadsheet form if you're into that kind of thing. And that was Split Second Velocity. Got it. I have now seen Ready Player One. Finally, Chris 16-bit, please tell me your thoughts on Ready Player One, because I'm sure you have a fondness and appreciation for so many of the properties that were outlined in that film, and I would be curious to hear your thoughts on it, man. Let's see. Old Style Gaming, how are you doing? Hey, I'm good, mate. And you later, Dan. Oh, wait, did somebody leave and I forgot to say bye? Oh, no, that was from where Roaming Dan took off earlier. Okay. Pretty good. Old Science finally getting nice out. Kurt Wagner is the bomb. Yes, sir, he is. I'm a big fan of Kurt. Also, what's your favorite bit in any Marvel X-Men movie? You mean like my favorite scene or like my favorite interaction? Or like my favorite... Oh, you mean just like my favorite singular moment of any of the MCU films? Is that what you're asking me, Old Style? Chris says that's badass. Oh, if you're referring to the tattoo, thank you. I got that done down in Louisville, Kentucky when I lived there for a year. And most of my tattoos happen whenever I go to a new place. I'll get a new tattoo. So if I do take that YouTuber road trip to go visit like Super Nintendo and Rocker Gaming and Crows this summer, who she's in the chat. I will probably have to get a tattoo at some of those locations, although I don't know what it is yet. But I think it would stand to reason I could finally start the video game sleeve on this arm because this one's pretty barren. So, basically every time I go to or visit a new location, I try to get a tattoo. Like, I went to Iceland and got a tattoo there. Went out to Anchor Tattoo in Seattle, and that's where this one came from. So, definitely one more. Bonding, it's great. My only tattoo is a Star Wars one. Luckily, I am no longer ashamed of it. I was for a period post Phantom Menace. All right. So, what is your tattoo of, sir? Is it Maul? Mine is Quicksilver in Days of Future Past when time slows down. Sort of reminded me of the Matrix bullet time. Yeah, dude, I had not seen somebody replicate the feeling I got the first time I saw bullet time in the theater with the original Matrix back in '99. But it's hard to say that they didn't sort of do something very special with that scene, and that was very cool. I also liked. I think that was in the first one. Was it the first one or the second one where I can't remember now. But he basically braces Magneto's head because the force of rapidly taking off, I'm assuming, would like snap his neck. So I thought it was very interesting that he did that to Eric before he just sort of like took him out of there. I have a Ghostbusters logo on my right arm. It was difficult during the reboot. Ooh, yeah, I could see that, Oak City. Ghostbusters is in my top 5 films of all time. I grew up watching that. Actually, a VHS recording from a televised version of it. Because Ghostbusters, interesting tidbit, actually came out on my birthday, same day and year I was born, the day Ghostbusters came out, which, unless I'm wrong, I believe was June 7th, 1984. So, in that regard, I've always been a huge Ghostbusters fan. I was so excited for that reboot. And it was not totally terrible, but it fell far short of what my expectations would have been for a series that was so revered by so many people. And I liked Ghostbusters too, even though a lot of people didn't. I thought that was a lot of fun. And the Ghostbusters game for the 360 was phenomenal. But yeah, okay, sorry, back to you, Old Style Gaming. What I was saying, my favorite moment in any... I mean, it might just be where Tony Stark's like, I am Iron Man. Like, I thought that was amazing at the end of the first one. You really got the sense that they were setting up something much bigger. And the fact that the press was sort of going nuts after he makes that declaration at the end of Iron Man 1. I guess spoiler for anybody who missed that for the past 10 years. But when that happened, I almost thought it was almost like a wink and a nod towards the audience, like big things were coming, that they knew, in fact, that in the real world, the press was going to go absolutely bananas for everything that Marvel was about to churn out. And good Lord, did they. Ready Player One, adored it, adored the book, and adored the film. Different, but both great. Just great, geeky fun. Yeah, I mean, they took a lot of liberties with the film, with the film, in order to sort of crush the book concepts down into something that was digestible for mainstream audiences, I think. But ultimately, I had a good time with it. There were enough references in there that I was still like, having fun pointing out things like, oh, look, there's Ludus right in the opening credits. That's interesting. But I can't sit here and be like, oh, that movie was awful, I hated it, should have been just like the book. Because if you read the book, there are some scenes, especially when Wade makes his way to an apartment setting, that would probably not have played well for a PG-13 audience, which I won't spoil here, but feel free to use your imagination. Your right arm is a desert. Yes, sir. It's completely bare. And that's mainly because I'm not real happy with the way I did placement on this arm. So at this point, I'll probably have to have filler tattoos done to sort of tile this together in a meaningful way right here. But this one, I very much, if I continue to get tattoos when I go to new places, those probably will be stamped all over me in different locations. But as far as a video game sleeve, like, I want to basically stick with a single artist and just make a deposit. I know it's probably going to cost a few thousand to make that happen, but I want to make sure that some of my favorite moments in gaming were captured very well here. Games like F-Zero or Silent Hill, or games that I held very dear throughout the course of my 30 years of gaming. And oh, good Lord, I'm old and will die soon. This is terrifying. I'm down to get a new tattoo when you swing through. Oh, that's awesome. So do you have any local places that you would recommend, Crows? I would be curious, because if you can link me to them, I would love to start checking out their portfolios in advance of doing so. And if I can figure out a tattoo before them when I get there, I think that would be really fun. Wasn't the worst reboot I've seen. No, it wasn't the worst. It just, I just thought it was so sort of lame to have like Ernie Hudson, and Dan Aykroyd and Bill Murray just sort of relegated to these sort of secondary, tertiary characters at like a wink and a nod. Like, no, they deserved better than that. There is no Ghostbusters without those actors. And the fact that they got sort of, yes, I understand you have to make way for like a new cast of Ghostbusters so they can sort of stand on their own, sure. But they could have done that in a way that didn't dominate screen time, but certainly I guess paid them the respect that I felt that they were due for being the forerunners of that series. Are you going to too many games in June? Tell me more about that, because not sure. Possibly. I don't know where it is. I'm not really familiar with it. So Chris says, dudes, great stream and chat. Gotta go. It's bedtime. Ghostbusters is amazing, though. I think Back to the Future people's top 10. Oh, Princess Bride, sir. Excellent choice. And Empire are probably my top 2. Not bad choices at all. Chris, again, good luck with the rest of your move. Get some rest. Sounds like you're going to need it. Thank you so much for stopping by. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens on that 1,000 subscriber giveaway video that you're doing, sir. Oh yeah, the Iron Man bit is great. Downey is Iron Man through and through. Maybe the most perfect casting that has ever been done. Dude, right? Like it blows my mind because I remember in the '90s talking to my dad like, "Oh man, it would be so cool if there's an Iron Man movie. Who should be Tony Stark?" And we were like, "Tom Cruise should be Tony Stark." What a horrifying ordeal that would have been in the wake of the outstanding performance that we've gotten from Downey over the course of a decade now. And I'm convinced that Robert Downey, it's not even Robert Downey Jr. playing Tony Stark, right? Tony Stark's just been playing Robert Downey Jr. this whole time. In some bizarro way, we got a physical manifestation of him, although not quite with the affluence and potentially world domination tendencies of Elon Musk, although he's pretty close to a real life Tony Stark, I guess, now that I think about it. Absolutely, I'll send you the link. Right on, Chris. I will look for that. I will absolutely go check it out and check out that artist's work and see if it makes sense to have on my body for the rest of my life, right? Kind of a big commitment there. It's the East Coast biggest gaming convention in Pennsylvania. I don't know what the drive time would be like from here, but I know that at least as far as road trips go, Muzz is willing to go on the one with me up to Chicago to hang out with Rocker Gaming and shoot some of his stuff. So if so, I'm sure he'd be down for that as well. If it's in June, that gives me a little bit of time to prepare. So if you can DM me a link to it or something, man, or just drop it here in the chat, I'll absolutely go check it out. And if I do end up going, I'll let you know. Maybe we can hang out. It's the East Coast biggest. So what's up? Hey, CM Retro, what's up, man? I totally didn't even see you come in. I'm sorry. How's your day been? Did you go pick up any games today, sir? I think you also tend to go on the weekends, don't you? Robert Downey as Iron Man is like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I could see no one else playing the role as well. Yeah, dude, and I feel like it was really sort of. I guess telling, if not a little uncomfortable, because I guess separately in interviews with Hugh Jackman and Sir Patrick Stewart, I think Sir Patrick Stewart, were interviewed being asked about those characters and would they be willing to return to their roles after they'd already basically said, okay, we're done with these characters. And they both, I guess, said the same thing, like, no, we wouldn't want to come back. Unless Marvel was doing it, at which point we'd reconsider. But I feel like it's kind of a crappy thing to do in their position. But at the same time, I guess that's sort of their way of saying, like, oh yeah, if we were asked to step up to the A-team, yeah, we'd come back for an MCU appearance as Wolverine or, Professor X. Absolutely. Sure, I'll DM it to you. Awesome. Thank you, that Game Collector. And I'll let you know if it's going to work, sir. Sup, CM in Oak City for Sleep by 13. That's true. I just woke up. I have to work tonight. Oh, right on. So that's right. I keep forgetting that you work nights, man. And we still have to figure out a day for you to come over, which when you do come over to stream for our Way Back Wednesday CM, like now that I've got the couch configured, it should be much more comfortable than basically stuffing yourself into an office chair and, looking at a very small screen on the desk over here. I think it'll be a much better experience. So I'm looking forward to it. Alrighty, so since we have been sort of talking about Marvel, like, who is your favorite Marvel character, be it in the movies or the comics or the games? Like, I'm not really making a distinction here. Like, is there one hero in the Marvel universe that you sort of tend to value over all others? Like, for me, it would be Nightcrawler with Daredevil a close second, or possibly vice versa. But what about you guys? Who are your favorite heroes that Marvel has? I'm only not doing DC not because I'm just like, oh, I hate DC, because I don't. But I don't know as much about them, so I would be less likely to know somebody that you would name probably. Although I guess I do know some of the lesser knowns, like Zatanna. I feel like that's sort of a lesser known character. Spider-Man, Wolverine, Blade. All excellent choices, and it's weird because I think a lot of people are like, oh, there's never been an R-rated superhero movie before. And I'm like, well, yes, there was. Blade did that in the 90s. And then Ryan Reynolds was there for one of them, kind of, although I don't know how much he enjoys that on his resume. So later, guys, got to run. Solid pickups, good stream. That Game Collector, dude, thank you so much. And yes, I will be looking for that thing from you talked to me about. It's very cool of you. And you have a wonderful day, sir. Enjoy the rest of your weekend and chill out. Can I just say, Since seeing you on Smash JT rate my channel, you have become much more confident and fluent on your streams. I really enjoy watching you live. Yeah, so here's the thing. First off, I really appreciate the kind words. And I think I just became more comfortable with being myself. I'd always been sort of terrified of being myself on the internet, right? Because I think the reason for that is like so often when you communicate on the internet, usually it's through like text or chat, right? And if you watch the way that I text, chat, tweet, it's all very much like a 14-year-old girl. I use emojis like crazy. And I feel sort of subconsciously compelled to do it that way because I want people to have context or I guess some understand the tone of the things that I'm saying. Because, if you just say okay to somebody in a text message, depending on your mood or what you're dealing with in that day, that could come across a few different ways. I like doing a live stream format just because it's a lot easier for you guys to sort of hear the inflection of my voice and see my body language, have a better sense for who I am and the opinions that I hold and everything. But honestly, that stream with Smash JT was great because it was basically a way for me to sort of see like, oh, not everybody on the internet are horrible, awful troll people. A lot of these people are very kind, very wonderful people who are also in the same boat that I am in, trying to create something fun online, and in my case, try to make a living off of it someday. So the fact that I was able to meet so many just very cool, very encouraging people sort of bolstered my confidence, and in turn, I was able to sort of translate basically, because this is essentially the way that I am in real life. I mean, not that this isn't real life, that sounded weird, but I mean, I guess in person, I would say, to the internet in a way that I was very comfortable with. And honestly, I don't know that I could do it if you guys had not all been so awesome and supporting the streams and watching my videos and commenting on a regular basis. And, I think Carlsberg actually called it the confidence competence loop, right? Like the more you do something, you better you get at it. But then, as people are positively receptive to what you create, then it's sort of easier to keep doing it because, you feel emboldened somehow, I guess. But I'm glad that you dig it, man, for sure. CNET Game Collector. Oh, sorry, I was AFK to export vid for perp. Back now, I feel you. Tone and stuff like that is hard to get across via text. Yeah, it absolutely is. And like, I don't know if you guys have ever struggled with somebody, especially in like a work environment, who sends emails and then they put a trailing ellipsis after everything, which to me is about the most foreboding thing you can do in text. Like, we need to have a talk. ... See, that's how I interpret that. But the person who's writing it half the time probably does not think that at all. They're just like, oh yeah, we need to talk, and I'm still thinking of other things to say. But it's weird to me that while communications and text can be very clear cut, they don't communicate tone, and that's always been an issue for me. So I've always tried to make sure that I can let people know like, hey, I'm smiling and happy, and this is a joke, or if you don't get emoticons from me, it's probably more serious in nature. But yeah, I think it's one of the reasons I enjoy the live stream so much. And, I like watching some of you on your live streams as well, as I get a better sense of who you are, what your personality is like and all those things. I hate that. Like, say what you were going to say. Yes, I am a big fan of frankness, especially if it's uncomfortable frankness. And I think that's one of the biggest struggles that I've had working in teams too, be it, at my day job or even in creative pursuits, is when you work on a team with a team of people and people lack the ability to be frank with you, that just sucks because, I mean, you can deliver frank feedback in a way that's not, like you're not being a douchebag or anything like that, right? You can tell somebody constructively like, hey, I think you could have improved things here, or hey, I think you could have played that differently, or you could have delivered that message better. But you don't have to do it in a way that attacks a person. But, if you have people who are just constantly concerned about your feelings to the point where they can't just get to the point and tell you what you need to know, that sucks. That's a rough situation to be in. I see what you did there, old style gaming. Were it not for the words of praise you just heaped on me, I would have seen that and been like, oh my God, why is old style so mad at me right now? Like yeah, ellipses mess with me, dude. Or I hate when somebody texts me and they're like, I need to talk to you about something important. I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. And they're like, not now, later. Like, don't do that. That is the worst feeling in the world. Nobody wants to hear you say you got something super important to tell me and then face the dread of wondering what it is. Because that's just, I can't stand that. It's the worst. Just tell me what you have to say. That's what text is for. It's for quick, to the point communications. And not always perfectly well suited to, loose, friendly, conversational things like a live stream or a Google Hangout or FaceTime, for example, or just a regular phone call. That's manipulative too, man. It can be used that way. Wait, which part? You mean like if you say, oh, you mean like if you're just like, I have to talk to you, and then you just put somebody off for a long time? It's a habit to do it all the time for no reason, even in my videos. And that's the thing. Like I have a habit doing that as well in text, but I don't use ellipses. Usually I tend to use too many commas, which it could just be that I'm grammatically inept. But either way, I know what you mean. Yeah, I completely agree. That can be totally manipulative, especially if you know that somebody is prone to anxiety or they're prone to, sort of, jumping through a bunch of mental hoops to try to sort through things, or if they tend to overanalyze things like I tend to do sometimes. That's just hellish, man. Like nobody, don't ever, if you know somebody suffers from anxiety and you tell them, I got to talk to you about something really important, but I need to leave you hanging for about 3 days. That's horrible. That's torturous. Don't do that to people. But to bring all this back around to the original point, wait, what was my original point? Oh, see, this is the perils of being scatterbrained. But anyways, I guess I'll just go back to old style gaming. Sir, thanks so much. I'm glad that you enjoy it, man. And I hope to continue enjoying your content as well. Though, if I'm being honest, I haven't had a chance to watch much lately. This past couple weeks has been rough. Just so much going on. I got stuck staying up till 3 a.m. a couple days this week, which threw off my whole routine. I haven't been to the gym. So essentially what I'm doing today is I'm kind of working through some things, probably relaxing a little bit. And I'm using tomorrow to reboot and get back on schedule, as it were. I'm going to get up at 6 a.m., get myself back into the regular groove of thing of watching all of your videos as I have like my morning coffee and eat breakfast and everything. Work probably for 6 to 8 hours on the channel. And then I'll probably relax a little bit tomorrow night. Maybe I'll watch Friends on Netflix. That's always fun. Or maybe I'll, play more SuperNet or something like that. Or, well, play it for the first time, I guess. I understand I'm the same. Busy. Yeah, thank you for being understanding, sir. Because, dude, honestly, I get so torqued up and basically, well, not literally sweat bullets, but it feels like I'm sweating bullets whenever I think about, like, some of my favorite channels on here. People like Nostalgia, CM Retro, Abaddon Smith, like Game Thrones, like all of these cool new people that I bet who are also creators that are, sort of catering to their own niche and creating content. Whenever I miss those videos or feel like more than 2 days goes by and I haven't dropped in to say hi, like, dude, I get stressed. I do not like that feeling. And then I'm sort of stuck, right? Because it's like, okay, I want to, engage with people in a meaningful way and show people that I really appreciate their content. But at the same time, I'm getting behind on my own content. So that is why I try to stay scheduled 6 weeks out, is so I don't have to face those sort of, things that cause me a lot of internal stress. Same way. And the other thing too is I always stack these games up over here next to the desk because I can't really play them or do anything with them until I first catalog them in the collection spreadsheet, because I want to try to keep that thing updated, because that way if I'm out and I see a game and I'm like, do I already have that? Perfect example. Today I was at Warp Zone and I almost bought Bad Dudes, had it in hand, and I was like, wait a minute, do I already have this? And then I went and checked the sheet, and sure enough, it's already on the shelf over there. I just forgot that I had it. But I guess it makes sense, because once you get into a place where you have like, 1 or 200 games, or in some of your cases, thousands of games, like it becomes almost impossible to remember with perfect accuracy what games you already have and which ones you don't. Your stuff should come first. Well, I mean, okay. So if you believe that old style game, like, but doesn't it mess with you though? Like, if you feel like you can't visit with the people who are also making interesting things, or the people that support your channel, like, do you ever feel any semblance of guilt about that, or are you basically just banking on the fact that you think that people will be understanding? Because I think a lot of you are understanding. Like, I haven't had a single person in this chat, like, if I missed a day or if I missed one of their videos, show up and just be like, hey, how come you didn't watch my stuff? Like, I haven't actually seen that happen. But again, anxiety. So, sometimes those fears are not, steeped in reality or at all rational. I just buy anything if the price is good. I have 6 Dreamcasts now. Sir, I have 1 that I don't have time to play, but I'm glad you have an impressive Dreamcast collection. Most of the time, people understand. CM, that's actually encouraging, and I think that's probably what logically I know to be true on the inside. So, and actually to hear you guys directly say it is actually a huge weight off my shoulders, because, again, days go by where I feel like I'm missing stuff. I feel terrible about it. I was actually texting, well, not texting, I was DMing Abaddon yesterday, telling him I felt bad that we hadn't talked in a couple weeks, really. Carlsberg says, I do not feel guilt. We are humans living our own lives, man. I will check things out when I have the time. I don't expect others to do the same with mine. The people who do not understand and act as if it is a capital offense to not watch your stuff is acting childish and entitled. They are not entitled to the minutes of your life they are asking you for. I think that's honestly probably a very mature and just well-reasoned stance, actually. And it's weird. I actually started listening to an audiobook, because that's where I tend to do most of my learning, is driving in the car when I'm stuck commuting to and from the day job. I get about a half hour, 40 minutes that I can listen to audiobooks. That's usually when I tend to listen to stuff about entrepreneurship, or when I listen to stuff about, positive life changes, because I'm real big into that stuff. And one of the books I started listening to recently, which is really funny, but also incredibly practical, is a book called The Power of No, and how no is a really scary, negative thing for a lot of people to indulge, especially when you have friends or people you care about asking you for things and you have to say no. That can be terrifying for people. But ultimately, saying no to somebody is saying yes to yourself or to something else. And that's actually been a really good read. If any of you use Audible, if you're looking for a good book to check out, or if you've actually struggled with saying no to people in the interest of preserving your own sanity, time, resources, or relationships, or goals that are personally very important to you, you should give this book a look, because I'm really rather enjoying it. Especially the creators will understand. Yeah, well, and that's the thing too, right? Like, my audience tends to be creators. I mean, the whole point of Your Player 2 is for me to help out other gaming channels that are trying to grow by offering sound tips or production strategies and things like that. So in a way, the audience that I've basically chosen for myself or to engage ultimately should understand those struggles better than most, right? I mean, I can understand how somebody who doesn't run a YouTube channel might be upset and be like, oh, how come this person's not producing the kind of content or at the rate that I want them to? But other YouTube creators, like Carlsberg saying, and I'm sure she knows as well, like, it's rough, man, in terms of hobbies you can indulge, or in terms of creative pursuits, and certainly in terms of entrepreneurial efforts you can pursue the way I am with this channel. There are certainly quicker paths or cheaper paths or less stressful paths for all of those arenas if you're comparing YouTube against other pursuits, because YouTube, man, it is an expensive, stressful time suck. But ultimately, whenever you get that video out and somebody appreciates it and that comes back to you, that is one of the most fulfilling things that I've had the privilege to enjoy in my life. So I'm hoping to do this for a very long time, and I really dig it. But yeah, I'm hoping that the most of them know that. Nostalgia, how are you, sir? Thank you for coming by. Old Style says, I'm going to read it. Dude, if you do read that, let me know, because I'm probably about 4 or 5 chapters into that book right now, and I've really been enjoying it. So, if I remember, you're not on Twitter, but if there's some way you can hit me up, please do so. And, I'd love to talk to you about it. CM says, when people get frustrated is when people take large amounts of time off without an explanation. Yeah, at most, I think I would miss like one or 2 days probably. Like, for instance, yesterday I would have done the video follow Friday, and I probably would have shouted out Discard for that, but I did not. Well, wait, yesterday was Friday, right? Yeah, sorry, I can't get my dates right. But I was just so exhausted after staying up till 3 a.m. a couple nights this week that it just wasn't happening. Oh, absolutely. This is not a thing for everyone. This is also entwines ego and personal feelings, because you're in essence selling yourself, and some people cannot handle. Some people cannot handle, they may not be what people are willing to watch. Just like anything else, it's not for everyone. I see a lot of egos, a lot of fallouts, and it's interesting to watch. Annoying sometimes. LOL. Yeah, I could see that. And that's the thing. That was something that I still struggle with, right? Like, whenever I promote myself on Twitter, or whenever I put like even affiliate links in my channel or in my video descriptions, I understand that you sort of need revenue pillars, right? Things that make money if you ever want to be professional at something, which is again what I want with this channel. But at the same time, like, that can be uncomfortable. But I think one of the things that's really been helping me through it is there's another great book from Sean McCabe called Overlap, which basically speaks to how to indulge your passion or a side hustle, which is kind of what YouTube is for me, while also maintaining your day job, because you need stability, because you have a family to provide for, you have bills, you have a mortgage, or whatever it is. And one of the things that he talks about in that book is yes, you have to sell yourself, but just because you sell yourself doesn't necessarily mean that has to be an unethical pursuit. I think a lot of people have a really sour, bad taste in their mouths about the concept of selling themselves, because historically, when we have experience with people like take the used car salesman, for example, everyone naturally assumes that sleazy archetype, and that sort of pops into mind sometimes whenever you think about something like selling yourself. But really, I think as long as you're willing to conduct whatever business you do in an ethical way, and you're just always real with people and very clear about the benefit that you want to provide, I think that's an easier pill to swallow at that point, as long as you try to be transparent about what it is that you want, I guess. Hey, it's Nostalgia. I am on Twitter, just never go on. Right. Well, I am on Twitter almost all the time. So if you have a second to shoot me your thoughts on there, I would certainly read them. Or if you just want to use Twitter long enough to shoot me a way that's better to contact you, whether that's email, or you want me to text you or whatever, be happy to do it, man. What people are willing to, wait, I already read that. You now have a new follower. Okay, let me see if that just popped up for me, sir, on my phone, and then I will just go ahead and follow you back. And then if you ever are on, great. But otherwise, since it's not your favorite medium, I will try to keep bugging you to a minimum on there. Awesome. And also, if you would prefer, if I ever promote you in some way, if you would rather me not point them towards your Twitter and just directly toward your channel, that's cool too. Just let me know what works for you. I'm good. How are you? Hey, Oak City Gamers. Yeah, it's Nostalgia was streaming for a couple hours last night cleaning carts, and I actually had him up while I was playing Minecraft at the same time, so I was sort of like listening on my headphones to him while my friends were like, stop hanging out with your YouTube friends and play Minecraft. I was like, I can play Minecraft with you guys at the same time, which tonight I'll be playing with Kyle, but I'm going to see if he doesn't mind his voice chat being on the stream, because I would really like to stream some Minecraft, but I also want to play it with him because the world's on my Switch, and because realms don't exist for Switch for Minecraft, the only way he can play in that world is if he joins my game, so I will have to fire it up for him, presumably. Totally, when I think selling yourself sounds almost sexual, and some people do take that route. We're literally like bending over for super chats and such. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's the thing. Like, for me, what's the best way I can put this? I'll probably lay this out more eloquently in a future video that I produce for like a Monday type thing, but I'm not really in the business of making a quick buck. Like, I appreciate, like, whenever I got super chats earlier from oh my god, from Chris Levi and from Superhero Game Squad, that's awesome. And to me, it's not about the amount of money or even that I got money. It's the encouragement and the validation that comes from the fact that somebody said, hey, you're good enough to do what you're doing. Like, that's the thing that means the most to me. But as far as, you know, when I say like I'm not out to make a quick buck, I'm more interested in building legacy than currency. I don't mean legacy just like some hero of old from World of Warcraft or something necessarily, but you know, a lot of people are like, oh, I want 100,000 subs, I want 200,000 subs, and I love that idea. But and I've mentioned this before, I wouldn't be able to support 100,000 subs right now in a way that would maximize the amount of value that I like to bring to the people that watch this channel. Right? For me, that would be a complete nightmare, and I'm not ready to handle that yet. So, you know, like, do I want to build it into a business? Yes, but I don't feel like I need 10 million people to do that. I think that just 1,000 or 2,000 Your Player 2 super fans or Josh fans will be enough to help me make a reasonable living, pay my bills, and then make content like this 5 days a week instead of, you know, 2 videos a week with some live streams of me picking up game. Oh, by the way, it's Nostalgia, you'll be happy or not. You know, Secret of Mana. Sorry, that was a weird sort of segue. I apologize, Carlsberg. It's like a barren wasteland on my Twitter. It is, but that's cool. At least I know a place where you exist, right? I mean, then if you ever do decide to engage Twitter, you know, I'm sure everyone in this chat would love to hang out with you there as well. So, good stuff. Nostalgia, what are you doing today, sir? I'm glad most of your games worked properly yesterday after you cleaned them. I'm trying to find this other spreadsheet right now. So dorky. Like, what'd you do Saturday? Oh, you know, I live streamed with some people on the internet, and then I looked at a bunch of spreadsheets. Pretty nice. I mean, that's basically just like one click away from me. Like, oh yeah, I think we're gonna go to Bed Bath and Beyond on Saturday. It should be a nice little Saturday, right? Like, I think it was an old school. You are more interested in doing what you enjoy and producing your content more so than money that may come along. People driven by money also have higher instances of dissatisfaction. I have heard that, and I've also heard, hilariously, I think it was Daniel Tosh say, like, money can't buy happiness. And one of his bits, he's like, no. He's like, you ever see somebody frown on a jet ski? You can't do it. I was like, that's pretty funny. But no, I do see what you mean. Like, for me, again, as far as success goes on YouTube, what success means to me is, can I help as many people as humanly possible in the pursuit that they love, which is essentially the pursuit that I love, which is making video game content that is fun for people on YouTube, whether that's, you know, streaming or doing review videos or whatever it is, and then finding an audience for that content. But then, you know, sort of beyond that, I guess, like, I just want to be able to pay my bills. Like, would it be nice to be able to go above and beyond, like take care of my family and stuff with money like that at some point? Yes, because that would be my priority, right? Anything above and beyond what I use to pay my bills, I'm going to use to take care of, like, my parents and, you know, the people that I care about in my life, like Jason, if I could. But, you know, I'm just not, you know, I don't want to be like, I would never want to be like the Lambo dude with the library, right? I mean, like, I you know, respect the amount of success he's been able to accrue using whatever tactics he's utilized. But at the same time, you know, for me personally, the idea of my heaven on earth is just basically, you know, kicking back, playing video games here, and basically being able to hustle 40, 60, 80 hours a week doing this instead of what my day job is, which it's not that I don't talk to some great people in the course of my day job. I do, but, you know, working with voice technology and fax stuff, Not really as exciting as helping somebody, take better box shots for their unboxing video, or helping people shoot better pickup videos or something like that, or helping somebody sort through some of the nuance of how to read Google Analytics and stuff like that. Like, that's the stuff that really gets me going. Play Minecraft to your heart's content, sir. I'm going to, or at least a little bit for sure. I like that legacy. Yeah, dude. I just. A lot of people out there are just like, oh, I need money. Like, I want all this money. And like, that's cool. But I mean, again, I think I mentioned this in reference to the limited run games view that I did. If I had $1 million sitting here right next to me and I could buy the entirety of the collection of something that I love, like every video, well, $1 million would buy every video game on the planet. But let's say every Super Nintendo game or something like that, would I do it? And the answer is no, because it's sort of the thrill of the hunt, right? And I'm a big believer in things are about the journey rather than the destination. I don't know where my destination is. I have some idea of where I want to end up with this channel. That is to be, basically, financially independent, using whatever I can make from it. And, because my quest is for time, not money, right? With more time, I could be making videos every single day. I could live stream, like 2, 3, 4 hours a day or something crazy like that. But as it stands, I've got bills and I've got responsibilities, and I have to have a day job for that. So until I can figure out some way to supplement that income in another way and make content that is good enough to entice people to want to support me in that fashion, that's what I'll be doing. And even then, I'll still be doing a few videos a week, so it's not a total wash. Make some macros. That would be real rock and roll Saturday night lifestyle. Yes. Yeah, I think I might make some macros. Who knows? Might vacuum later. I mean, I don't like to brag, but that's just my life. So I want to take a nap on that beanbag. Sir, that is filled with memory foam, so it would be a very comfortable nap. I've fallen asleep in that thing more than a few times. That's where I like to do most of my portable gaming, right? If I'm playing 3DS or something like that, or Vita, I like to just chill out in that chair. It's very comfy. It sort of just forms to the curvature of your spine, which is probably super bad for your spine now that I think about it. But yeah, it's a comfortable chair. It's from the Lovesac people, which is still sort of a pervy name, I think, but whatever. I love the hunt and reselling more than the game sometimes. Yeah, dude, like there's something fulfilling about that, right? If you find a complete unicorn of a game at a yard sale like Murr did the other day and someone gives it to you for free, that's an amazing story. And I'm all about things that create amazing stories. I mean, the basic litmus test for the decision that I make a lot of the time is what's going to make the better story. That was the whole reason I went skydiving. Like skydiving is sort of terrifying, right? Well, I mean, okay, I'm admittedly a bit of a thrill seeker, but at the end of the day, when I was like, should I do this? I was like, that makes a better story. So yeah, I'm going to do it. That works about 50% of the time. There are some scenarios where that can go really far south, though. So maybe not the best advice for somebody in the realm of decision making. Oh, hey, talk house cleaning to me. Oh, well, what else might I do today? I might scrub the sink down. I live a life of true luxury over here in Dublin, Ohio. I'm sleeping inside that beanbag chair in the dark, face lit by the screen. I buy systems and games and never ever play or switch them on. I'm like a retro hoarder. Yeah, I mean, you got to have an immaculate collection, though. And the thing is, does it bring you joy, sir? Because if so, I mean, and that's weird. Like, Sean had this brilliant piece of advice the other day. I don't think he really understood how brilliant it was. We were talking and at work the other day, and he said words to the effect of, somebody told him, you're wasting your time playing video games. And his response was, if I enjoy doing it, it's not wasted time. It was so simple and to the point. I felt like it was so brilliant. He's like some people, what do you say? I can't remember. He's like some people like playing like bocce ball or something like that. And he was like, I think that would be a waste of time, but to them, it's not, right? If you dig what you're doing and you're having fun with it, not a waste. I mean, unless you're doing meth. If you're doing meth, that's probably a pretty profound waste of money and probably a lot of your well-being. So it doesn't apply to everything, but as a loose guideline, I think it works. No, it brings me grief from my wife, who is constantly complaining about all my stuff. Oh my God. So I'm going to go on a limb here and say your wife's not a huge gamer then. Would that be a fair statement, old style? It's funny. My wife, Jason up there, he said he wasn't a gamer, but now, after living with me for a few years, and he probably will not live with me for too much longer, he's got his own pursuits to take on. But when he first moved in, he was like, I'm not a gamer. I just like playing Destiny. But I was like, okay. And then over time, he started playing things like Hearthstone and Horizon Zero Dawn. He's Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild. Like the dude is definitely a gamer. I don't think he realized it until I was constantly putting it in front of his face like all day, every day since we lived together. Yes, he is. Or the other way around, depending on who you ask. But yeah, we keep each other in check, and we do occasionally bicker like an old married couple. Not as much as me and Sean, though. Me and Sean, we bicker a lot because we have very different opinions on a lot of things related to like gaming and movies and movies and music and that kind of thing. But Jason and I keep very sound balance. I think it works really well. She likes maybe Alex Kidd, Mario, and Wiz and Liz, and that's it. I don't think I'm familiar with Alex Kidd, maybe? I'm trying to remember. Mario I get, though, because I'm a filthy casual. It's nostalgia, but I enjoy meth. Hey, man, it's not my place to judge what you do is nostalgia. If you want to do meth and clean NES cartridges, that's all on you. I'm just saying maybe in moderation, I've seen the terrifying commercials from the 80s, sir. It's not a good look. Speaking of which, I will say this on stream now that I'm remembering it. You remember like the whole commercial from the 80s? It was like, this is your brain on drugs. Yeah, like the dude with the eggs and the pan. I was so terrified of eggs for so long. And apparently I was so scared of that commercial. I used to tell my mom that eggs were drugs and refused to eat them because I didn't really understand what they were trying to communicate to me. I wasn't real big on metaphors, apparently. You and Sean are funny. I don't think I remember Jason's face, but I remember him coming in because his name reminds me of Heavy Rain. Jason! Yes, absolutely. And I do bellow that through the house from time to time, Carlsberg, if I'm being honest. And he never played Heavy Rain, so I don't think he entirely gets the joke, but I get it. So, I'm having a good time. He's just very confused and like, shut up. Stop calling me that. Some people whittle dolphins, and I'd never buy a whittled dolphin. I hated that commercial. Right? That commercial's terrifying. Freaked me out as a kid. How could you not? Right? You can't not. Like, if you played Heavy Rain and you got a friend named Jason, that's the only way I know how to yell for that dude, just about. So, well, guys, it's been about 2 hours now. And it's, that's the thing I love about this. May be my favorite piece of content I put on YouTube in any given week. Because it's very low impact, it's very low stress. It's just like, hey, I got some cool new games. Let's talk about whatever you guys feel like talking about, whether that's Marvel movies or the power of Notebook or whatever sort of content that we end up speaking about. But time flies so quickly during these things. Like I've been sitting here for 2 hours straight and I haven't really moved except for I think to turn my light off earlier. And I just don't even think about it, man. Like not until I really focus on the little live icon up here in the upper left where it says that do I even notice. But it's one of the best parts of my week, and I really appreciate you guys all coming to hang out with me on a regular basis. It's just a ton of fun, and it's cool to get a peek into your guys' lives as well. Whether it's talking about like your channel's content or if your views on things, and actually especially in light of what you said today, Carlsberg, that definitely sort of made me feel a little bit better about those periods where I do get so busy that I don't get to stick to my schedule the way that I want to, but. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys all coming out. It means the world to me. I'm going to do a gaming memories of Heavy Rain inspired by you and Jason. Oh my god, that would be so good. And Jason's gonna be like, what is this? I don't understand. Oxy says, I've been told I'm not a gamer, and my response is I've spent 500 hours playing Breath of the Wild. Good lord, dude. I thought I'd spent a lot playing 200 hours, but 500 hours in Breath of the Wild? If that's not a testament to the staying power of that game or how well it was designed at a fundamental level, I don't know what is. Thanks for spending time with us. Yeah, no worries, man. Don't be afraid to hit me up in DM if you think you're acting a fool. No need to worry so much. I appreciate it very, very much, Carlsberg. So, yeah, do you guys have anything else you really want to talk about? Because if not, I'm probably going to get off here and start rewiring the streaming station so I can hopefully play some Minecraft later. And like I said, probably clean up around the house. Rocking Saturday night. I put about 250 in Breath of the Wild. Yeah, you loved it too, then, Nostalgia. I'm glad to hear it, man, because I think that game is phenomenal. Like that is one of those games that I don't even go into with an objective in mind. I'm not like, oh yeah, I got to get all this armor. I just dive into Breath of the Wild because I just like wandering around and taking in the sights. The game is massive. Also says, okay, I'm away now to great stream what I caught. See you later. Yeah, no problem, man. I'm probably gonna take off here in a few minutes unless anybody else wants to talk about something super pressing like meth. But yeah, just again, I appreciate you guys all coming out. I love these streams. I'm glad you like them, man. And real quick shout out to Oak City before I go. The other day he was just sort of randomly like, "Hey, can I be like a mod in the stream or anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." I'm not overly discerning, and we don't know each other that well, but that sounds like a good idea. But he's always showing up and basically just engaging in the streams. But then on top of that, like he was phenomenal the other day when my attention was super divided between chat and the game and helping maintain things there and keeping everything moderated. And same with Carlsberg. She's saved me on more than a few occasions in these streams. So for those of you that do mod in these streams, thank you very much for taking the time out of your days to do that. And I hope I can repay the kindness in some way on your own. Have fun playing Minecraft. I'll craft like mad. Nice. All right. Well, you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And if you guys want to talk more offline, or I guess it's still online, feel free to hit me up on Twitter. It's your player too. So enjoy the rest of your days, guys, and thanks for checking out my pickups and everything, and for just making my Saturday an amazing one like it always is. So you guys take care. Bye. And I can't find the stop button again. Why does this always happen to me? Oh, it's behind the microphone. There.